Comic Timing is member supported by listeners like you over at patreon.com/comic timing. We thank you very much for your continued support of the show. For as little as $1 a month, you can give more than that, but for as little as $1 a month, you can get in on the behind the scenes action. You can get some diary entries, you can get some early releases, you can get some behind the scenes audio when we record it, and whatever the hell else we feel like doing. So join us over at the fun at patreon.com/comic timing. Thank you very much for all your continued support that you give. Hey there, folks. My name's Ian Levinstein, and welcome to episode 240. Nice round number there, 240 of Comic Timing. And we are back at it this time with a smaller crew. Brent Cassina is away on assignment. He is unavailable as he is flying to wherever the hell he's flying for his work purposes. And at least he's got Invincible to watch while he's doing so. He'll be back sooner than later. But joining us on this episode is, of course, Mr. Jamal Igle. Welcome back to the show, Jamal.
Hey, what's up, Ian? How you doing?
Doing good, good. Not too much.
It's not like I haven't seen you in a couple of days.
I know. You watched wrestling. You watched wrestling in the Bronx.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. And
a fun time was had by all.
Indeed. Lucha Libre masks and screaming, and glad that Drew Carey didn't enter this time around. And
oh, God, yeah. And martinis.
And
Don't forget the martini.
That is also very, very true. Delightful. Also joining us this episode is Chris Naudis. Chris, hey.
Greetings, programs. Welcome. Welcome to the new reality. We are your new robot overlords. We promise you we'll be kinder than the other overlords that are currently in power.
Remember, we do this show as an escape, and let's do our best not to think of that musky fool for at least a little bit, and talk about some more depressing shit to get us started here, as we are watching the crumbling of an infrastructure, and I'm not even talking about the government. Diamond continues to get shittier and shittier and shittier of a situation as the days move forward here. Diamond Distributors, for those of you unaware, I would mention it. I think I mentioned it on 2 episodes so far. So here's the third. They filed for bankruptcy, Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They're looking for a buyer. They haven't found a buyer yet. And at this point, if they don't receive a buyer within the next couple of weeks, there is a chance that they just might have to just straight up call it in. And for what once was a titan of an industry, the only titan of an industry, to have fallen so far, and there's many reasons why that happened. We're sure as hell going to talk about as many of them as we could fit into a hat here, because there are tons of reasons why. Diamond's on its last legs, and I don't know what the comics industry is going to do in the short term to save those who were completely reliant on Diamond. And that's why I've got Jamal on this episode right here, baby, because he's got experience in that field in more ways than one. Jamal, I've been waiting to hear your thoughts on this. Please, man, spill, because this is getting ridiculous.
As a student, as a student of history,
yes,
all empires crumble eventually.
Yes.
And that's basically where we are. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised, honestly, it took this long, because Diamond has literally been hemorrhaging since before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I can remember back as far as 2018, and I think Raph was still working at Diamond at that point.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So he would be much more aware of the complete inside track.
Well, he worked on gaming accounts when he was there, so he wasn't actually.
But even then, like, Diamond has been bleeding for the better part of a decade at this point. The fact, not even the idea, the fact that Diamond is most likely going to have to shutter.
Yeah.
Doesn't really surprise me. When the news of them filing Chapter 11 came out, I was just like, okay, no, that's That's going to happen.
Yeah, just for listeners, remember Chapter 11 isn't like an immediate closure.
No.
It is a way to sort of reorganize your finances, get your shit together, which is why Ian mentioned trying to find a buyer.
Yeah.
But the thing is, nothing is moving forward for them at this point.
No.
Well, their biggest problem is they have a huge debt load.
Yeah.
Not just the money that they're owed, but money that they owe to publishers that they have not dispersed.
I'm sorry, you mentioned it, so I have to mention it just so that two people, okay, all three of us can laugh at the same time. Apparently, Diamond owes the Pokemon Company over $531,000.
And that's the minimum. They're probably not even the biggest creditor that they have.
No, yeah, I'm sure there's time.
I would guarantee they probably owe both DC and Marvel, if not over $1 million, maybe even like 2 or 3.
Yep. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, and that's a problem. Like, in general, I mean, we know that over the past couple of months, I mean, within the last year, they shuttered one of two of their warehouses. The one that was more convenient because a lot of shit gets published in Canada. For no reason whatsoever. Prices might be going up on books in Canada soon anyway, but that's beside the point.
Quebecor World is obviously in Canada. That's one of the biggest printing houses in North America, full stop. If you are not getting shit printed in China, which is cheaper but takes longer to get over here, you are getting it printed at Quebecor.
Yes.
Right. And Transcontinental has also said that they're putting a temporary pause on any price increases on their end.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, what did they say? There's a 90-day pause?
Something like that. Yeah. Well, again, we'll very much see it on that. But Valiant has delayed the launch of their Valiant Beyond line entirely because of what's going on with Diamond here, because they have to figure out what their distribution is going to be. Valiant was
Diamond their only distribution option? I
don't know about that 100%. However, as we know, whether it was a split load or whether it was entirely through Diamond, there's a whole bunch of comic book stores that still chose Diamond over Lunar when it came to that.
Right.
And I'll have to look into whether or not Valiant was exclusive with Diamond, but Alien Books purchased Valiant a couple of months back. Got them to the front of people's books, which is that's a whole other story. But they were basically on their way, quote unquote, back, and now they had to completely put that entirely on pause. They're exploring new distribution for Valiant Beyond Initiative. Alien Books is restructuring and cutting costs to mitigate unpaid funds from Diamond, and crowdfunding and a new online store focus for Alien Books during the market uncertainty. That's from an article on Bleeding Cool that ran recently. And on top of that, layoffs at Dark Horse and IDW in the past 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah. So where are we? What are we doing here, folks? Like, I mean,
be completely fucking honest.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Diamond was a goddamn shit show.
Oh yeah.
Late books, missing product.
Yeah.
Most of the time when stuff was delivered, boxes were broken, stuff was missing. There was,
damage up the wazoo.
The damage up the wazoo that they would not reimburse retailers for or replace in a timely fashion. So again, it's been a slow hemorrhage, which they were able to get away with because Diamond was the only game in town for the better part of 25 years. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And Diamond completely fell apart. And in the starting to burn embers of the ivory tower that Diamond sat in, rose Lunar, and Penguin.
Yeah.
Becoming, major forces in the distribution game, to the point where now Penguin is exclusive to Marvel and Lunar is exclusive to DC.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I think I'm trying to remember who's gone to, because there was an announcement recently that Image was going exclusive.
Yes, to Lunar. They're going exclusive to Lunar. Tomorrow's Publishing is going to be going direct to consumer, but also through Lunar.
Right. I know Ahoy, who I work for primarily, is exclusive to Lunar as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, I fully agree with what you're saying here, Jamal, that it was a shit show to begin with, and that it took the pandemic for it to fall. I think it says a lot, comic book industry wise, but also distributor wise, that we all knew already that Marvel and DC, they're called the big two for a reason.
Right.
Where if one leaves, that is a huge hole in your market space and in your distribution space, and then they both left.
Oh yeah.
If you're thinking historically, like we're all getting old. We all remember the 90s and the Heroes world.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That is partly, not completely, but a huge part of what caused the comic shop collapse in the 90s.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, even before that, because you can't talk about Heroes World without talking about Capital Cities. Capital Cities going out of business was basically what spurred Marvel to buy Heroes World and try to distribute. Mm-hmm. And then when that fell apart because Marvel was not set up for that level of distribution, that's where Steve Geppi was able to step in and fill that void. And they did fill that void for, they filled that void for a very, very long time. But it was a slow drip of mistakes, of bad practices, of being unable or unwilling for a very long time to modernize their facilities, to modernize how they handle final order cutoffs.
Yep.
How, a trackable system, that they could link directly, something that retailers were asking for, like a POS system that could link directly to Diamond's computer systems. They asked for that for decades.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I think it only started to happen in like the last couple of years. And it's really becomes a matter of being too little, too late at this. Like, it's just too far gone.
Well, what does it also say? What does it also say is that going to Lunar as an example here, Lunar stems from DCBS.
Yes.
Discount comic book service. Discount. Let's focus on the discount for a minute, okay? Because, one of the reasons why DCBS was able to become the juggernaut of online, comic book sales that it is that it actually offered a reasonable discount. I know for a fact that even before they were Lunar, there were some stores that would order their shit from DCBS rather than from Diamond, because sometimes it was cheaper to do so if it was a small enough order, and where we are now, obviously they made that work distribution wise for getting their discounted comic books to people's hands. And of course, what's the next step? Just distribute yourself. It makes perfect sense.
It's almost like a new emergence of a direct market.
Yes, it is.
I find that fascinating, because the direct market was the result of retailers going to the comic publishers and saying, please, can we just buy from you directly, because buying through the newsstand is not working for us for many, many reasons. And then you look at DCBS is technically a retailer, but it's just kind of like what they've done with Lunar is just saying, go directly to the company again and be like, can we buy direct from you at this point, becoming a new distributor? Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. I mean, mind you, during this whole talk and when we've been talking in our little group chats, is the fact that, I wrote about this years ago for Engadget, and, I'm still really proud of that article. And the thing is, we've brought up how, the pandemic was definitely a problem. I mean, Jamal says you are right that it was already on a downward slope. But it's interesting how the pandemic revealed so many businesses that were just not ready for the future. Like they were just not prepare, like it exposed all the holes and bad business practices. And when it came to the comic industry, and this is what I wrote my article about, because you remember when the pandemic hit and we had lockdown and, everybody was told, you can't be open, your store can't be open. So all these comic shops were closed. So Diamond's decision was just, well, we're not going to distribute comic books.
Right.
And that, I think, exasperated the switch, to just people doing stuff online. A lot of people, I know we still have our crackheads, including in this group, are like, I need my comics now. But I do feel like for people like me, it was like, well, I don't really, okay, you're not going to release it digitally. You're not going to give me a physical copy. I could just wait. Like I think it taught a lot of people they could just wait.
Oh yeah.
It did teach a lot of people that they could just wait, but it hasn't really. There are still a lot of retailers who are resistant to any type of change. And when the news of Chapter 11 came out, Brian Hibbs, for example, was apoplectic.
Well, he's very good at being that, to be fair.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
This is true. But the direct market needs to change anyway.
Yeah.
Like we've been doing things the same way for almost 40 years now.
Oh yeah.
It really needs to, actually longer than that.
Yeah, it's since the 70s.
Since the 70s. And things really need to be updated because it's not the same market anymore. Reading habits are not the same as they used to be.
Yeah, you remember, you both probably remember the time I got into it with Mark Waid.
Yes.
Yes.
About single issues. And he was like, without single issues, how will comic shops know how much to order? And I was just like, the same way bookstores know how much to order. We're not reinventing.
He's come around on that, though.
He has. Yeah.
He has come around on that.
Okay, that's good to hear. I'm not getting into it with him.
Yeah, although it was some of the best traction that my personal Facebook ever had. I'm just saying, but
it just, for the recap, for people who weren't privy to this absolutely glorious and stupid thread, it was like I was talking about how like retailers and comic shops were constantly complaining, why are people waiting for the trades? And I was like, when you're doing a mini series, you say it's going to be 5 issues. Most people, I think, aren't going to buy a 5-issue single issue comic. They'll wait for the trade. There are many reasons for that. One, like, it's a finite story, so it's just, no one and done, nice and tidy. And I'd much rather have that in a book that I can put on my shelf rather than a box that's going to be shoved in my closet.
Sure.
Which, by the way, I did finally clean out the closet of Doom.
Good for you.
The comics are still there. I didn't touch the comics. I was just like, oh, they look good. They don't look moldy. We're okay. We're good.
Right, there you go. Oh God, no. Oh God, that picture you sent me of those moldy comics. Oh my God.
Make sure put that in the show notes. It was on Reddit. I love Reddit sometimes. This dude who lived in, I think it was Florida, which somebody commented, they were like, it's Florida. The moisture wants to be in your house.
Seriously.
But he was saying like how he has a dehumidifier and he thought his basement was waterproof and he pulled out all his trade paperbacks and the pictures were just disgusting.
Oh, wow.
It's so nasty. It's horrifying.
Well, more to add on to Chris's point, like, trade paperbacks are good. Trade paperbacks are a wonderful thing, especially if, like, in the case of Batman Off-World, like, issue 6 just came out.
Issue
6 came out.
What's the Brian Hitch Superman?
The Last Days of Lex Luthor.
Thank you.
The was a 4-issue miniseries of which only 2 issues have seen print.
Yep.
But God love Brian, and I'm really enjoying the hell out of Redcoat. But
I love that first issue. It was fantastic, but it was supposed to be, to begin with, it was supposed to be a quarterly. And they are very much late on that.
Oh, you know what I think of? I'll always remember, because there's only 2 issues of it, was Non-Player.
Oh my God.
That gorgeous, gorgeous comic. It came out. Everybody wanted to grab it. It had to go into multiple printings. I think it got like a TV deal or something. And then it was like 2 years before there was an issue 2. And I don't think there's been an issue 3. If there has, you can, actually us. I don't care.
Daredevil, Bullseye, Target. Kevin Smith put out 2 issues of that. And that was it. It is a unfinished limited series about Bullseye that was essentially supposed to be a unofficial official sequel to his Daredevil run,
right?
And it never finished past that.
But these things happen sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, they absolutely happen. But again,
yeah,
you know, I am a huge advocate for the trade paperback.
Very much so. Yes.
I will,
such as The Wrong Earth, available wherever you find books.
Exactly.
Yeah, I will make the argument, you know, and this also came up in the Mark Waid argument, was that, oh, well, how are they going to pay the artists and writers? And I'm just like, the same way they pay them for complete graphic novels, you do it, you know, upon delivery of the entire work.
Yeah.
Like, periodicals are periodicals for a reason. I mean, they're very, like, I've been thinking about that a lot, not just like the early comics industry, but even stuff like newspaper, you know, how like a lot of Charles Dickens was a periodical writer.
Yeah.
You know, he wrote in installments. Every book we think of as a classic was basically just trash that was published month to month. For all I know, he could have died between months and then it just never would have been finished.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'm going to be like, it's not the 19th century anymore. It's not even the 20th. Like, we don't have to operate on this like piecemeal, you know, hope they don't, you know, turn up dead, you know, hope they can eat tight. Like, it's there's, especially since there's so much money at play now. And yes, I know that some people in comics are not doing great, but the fact is, it is not what it used to be. You know, we are getting better at taking care of people, compensating them. Again, I'm not going to get into a long argument. I don't think you guys would disagree with me that it's better, at least. I'm not going to say it's ideal or fantastic.
Yeah.
But it is, again, it is not like, oh, I haven't heard from him in 2 months. He's probably dead or in a home or whatever. You know, like, we keep track of people.
He's died from dysentery, you know, somewhere along the Oregon Trail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, just random fact that just popped, because again, I was like going through the Closet of Doom. I found a bunch of DVDs that had been missing for 2 years. You know, Ian saw the photos. I also
Anything
found
good?
I mean, I was looking for my Return of the King because, like, I had the extended edition, and I was like, where is it? Because I have my other 2 volumes, and it was just irking me that it was incomplete.
You found Series 7 too. That was
Series 7. Series 7, great movie. It's one of those Game of Death things. I love Game of Death stories, and this is one where it's like a TV show, and they just randomly pick American citizens to murder each other.
Yeah,
you know, they just show up with the camera at their house, and it's like, congratulations, you're a contestant. Go kill 8 other people. You know. And
Why have I never? I don't remember this. When did this come out?
Like 2001. It's really
something
indie.
like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's really indie, and it has that the main star of it is somebody who you've literally seen in like everything as one of those people. Its the full name is Series 7: The Contenders. And
the point being, the show is called The Contenders.
Yeah.
This is season 7. It's very British, even though it's set in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Brooke Smith is the lead.
I know. I know who that is.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's
I have to look that up. Interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea if it's streaming anywhere. It's just, so I'm glad I found my DVD. But I also found my Funko Pop of Edgar Allan Poe, which was nice. And I was like, you were going right on the shelf. I missed you, buddy. You know? No, since I'm talking about periodical writers and people getting by, like, remember how Edgar Allan Poe died? Yeah. Do you know Ian?
In Squalor, right? I mean, like.
Well, he lived here in New York.
Yeah.
But they found him in Baltimore, like dead at like a post office or something, in somebody else's clothes.
Oh.
And no one knows for sure, but the theory is that he was gang pressed into illegal voting.
Oh God.
That's why the clothes, what they would do is get people super drunk, you know, have them go vote and then change their clothes and then shove them back into the voting office. And that they might have done this to him until, you know, he just collapsed. And I'm like, American history, everybody. But that's what I mean when I say, like, no, it's way better now to be a creative. Like, as shitty as it still is, it's just, and again, the industry is also better. And like, we don't need to do things like publish month to month. And, you know, it's just, I love periodicals, but I also, like, when it comes to things like comics, I just give me a book. Give me a goddamn book.
I want to mention a couple of other changes that have happened since the announcements with Diamond. This article on ICV2 goes through a whole bunch of it. Mad Cave Studios is now moving over to Lunar, so they were able to shake things up there. Boom is with Penguin Random House. So
Right.
they're just like straight up ending their association with Diamond, and they're going to distribute via Penguin Random House as well as a bunch of other people. But one of the more interesting things here is Massive. Massive Publishing has added Lunar Distribution to its distributor roster and announced Massive Indies, a new sub-distribution program. The new distribution relationship with Lunar will kick off with orders placed in February. Lunar joins Diamond as a direct market distributor. Massive titles area distributed to the book trade by Simon & Schuster. So this will allow some of those smaller indies to potentially still get their books out there, with Massive taking a little bit of a cut.
The article that you just posted for us, I will note, it actually mentions Tomorrow's Publishing.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
That's a perfect example of who this could benefit.
Well, I know I've also seen, as we're still talking about Diamond, I know that I've seen a lot of indie creators, being very concerned about Diamond's collapse because, they're not able to get any traction.
Yeah.
At one of the other distributors, at least for the time being. That might end up changing, but I want people to keep in mind that there was a time where Diamond was very much a gatekeeper.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For what was going to be seen in comic shops.
Yep.
And I think at one time, if I remember correctly, I forget what the number was, but I think I want to say it was between 2,000 and 3,000 copies. If they didn't think that your book could sell between 2,000 or 3,000 copies, they weren't going to carry it at all.
Yeah.
And that hurt a lot of independent creators for a very, very long time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I mean, at that point, it was either, very, very small runs you could do at, shows and sell yourself, or, you find like the 4 indie comic shops that are still, willing to just buy things from individual creators, and you wind up in one of those. And by the way, they're all in Brooklyn.
I would say,
so.
Ian, given that it is 2025, and webcomics emerged less than 30 years ago.
Yes.
That the other alternative was to just publish digitally as best you could, which was usually the 3-panel, 4-panel strips. And it's interesting to look and see how many of those people actually succeeded. Like, by being the pioneers, I don't necessarily know how well a new comic could do now, especially they're trying to drive everybody towards Webtoon, and Webtoon pays shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when people put out their shingles, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, people who got in on the ground floor of Webtoons got some pretty good deals, and then after that, they're like, we're not giving out any good deals to anybody else anymore. So you could publish on here, but you're getting like $3.50 back from us. And by that, I mean $3.50. Thank you very much. Like,
no, I was also going to say, it's like, well, now they're just going to promote like their Assassin's Creed comic, or their Batman comic.
Their Batman comic, exactly. Thank you. That DC has a freaking Webtoons comic. I think says exactly what they're aiming for crowd-wise. But you mentioned something, and it leads me to a really, really good point that I'm sure we could probably all bang our heads up against the wall, and I'm sure Diamond is too. Diamond had the opportunity back in the day to get themselves into the digital space as well. They could have very well set up an infrastructure and had something like a Comixology for themselves, and digitally distributed. And I think that
they could have bought the Comixology.
That too.
It's just like, to me, that's thinking of Blockbuster not buying Netflix back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, things would have turned out. I think I can't say would have, very well could have turned out significantly differently had they actually embraced online and embraced digital way more than they actually did, instead of charging $4 a pop for a digital PDF of Diamond's catalog. But
their argument at the time was that they didn't want to alienate brick and mortar stores.
Yeah.
They didn't want to create it's not really
world's tiniest violin. Sorry, Jamal.
Yeah,
no.
I know it's not even. It's not really competition even now.
No, it's not.
digital comics make up what, less than 10% of overall sales. So, but having that opportunity, there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. They had they done it, I think the overall industry would be much different than it actually is. But because they didn't, and having Amazon as a backer for Comixology, I think actually gave rise to a whole new sector of producing comics.
Yes.
But having that hybrid between print and digital as well. It's a space that still exists to this day.
Sure.
Even with webtoons, like, yes, some people have been able to do really, really well with webtoons. I think of Katie Cook.
Yes.
For example, with her strip, being able to take her webtoons comic and get a traditional publishing deal for all the volumes, but she was able to do that because webtoons was bankrolling it, and she was able to get a lot of traffic for her strip. I mean, there were other like more mainstream creators who also did stuff for webtoons that didn't quite have the same success and reach, but I think that says more about what people are looking for on webtoons.
You know what I find interesting about webtoons, and also, I don't know, I should just say hi, Raph.
Hi, Raph.
Speaking of lack of reach and success,
Raph Suhu, ladies and gentlemen, Raph Suhu.
Brutal. Yeah, but the interesting thing with webtoon for me is every time I go into a store, like a regular normal bookstore, not even a comic shop, is the prevalence of Lore Olympus trades.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Lore Olympus is an interesting comic because when you read it, it is totally designed. Like when we talk about the medium is the message and how the format of a piece of media shapes it, and Lore Olympus totally has that like panels where not much happens. It's not even like manga, like stretching a moment, emotionally. It's like stretching the moment because we have to produce something every single goddamn day. So a lot of the content is just very stretched out.
Right.
And somehow, like, it's good. I've only seen a little bit of it, I'll be honest. Maybe I'll read it and we'll have a whole podcast and I'll talk about how amazing it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, despite being this very, like, empty, like it's so spaced out, the trades sell so well.
Oh yeah. God, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a gorgeous comic. I am not denying that. It's just as a person, I guess a more traditional comics buyer, I will be like, I will finish reading this in 20 minutes. I'm not spending $30 on this book. But there's a huge audience. And again, you go to a bookstore and there's the piles of all the Lore Olympus trades.
We're also
selling out.
We're also lucky enough to live in New York City, which I'll fully admit, because of that, we have access to,
this is true.
NYPL and BPL, and we can, a lot of these stuff are available through them in one form or another. And then we can go ahead and read it that way.
Yeah, just not spend a dime. I get so many books from the library. And in fact, like I left some stuff, Alice in Borderland.
Nice.
So I don't have to actually buy it.
There you go.
If we do what we're reading, I will talk about it. But this is I'm just going to say I watched the TV show on Netflix, and it is amazing.
Okay, good. Yeah. It's definitely on my to-watch list, so that'll be there. I want to allow Raph to get in on the dog pile, too, because I'm sure he's got I'm sure he's got thoughts and opinions to share on Diamond's collapse and the ramifications of such. Not that he would have any sort of insider knowledge or anything like that, but, Raph, go ahead.
I only worked there for 3 years, 4 years, 3 years. I don't even remember.
It's like 3.5 or something like that.
Yeah. So, actually, the first thing I did when I heard about everything was reach out to a friend of mine, who, ironically, my buddy who I used to work at Midtown Comics with him, but I worked with him during my second run after I had left Diamond, and he joined Diamond last year, basically doing the job I left.
That's fine.
So 2 people, 1 job.
Yeah.
not 2 people, 1 cup.
No.
So he didn't get back to me immediately because I'm sure he got flooded with like, oh my God, are you okay? What's going on?
Yeah.
Right.
So basically he told me that the department, I worked in sales, and very specifically I did toy like collectible sales, so like toys, action figures, with an emphasis on Diamond Select toys. I mean, I sold other stuff, but they obviously I got to sell Diamond stuff. So my buddy does that also, and I think what's going on is, from what he was telling me, he's okay. He's still employed. So I think what's going to happen to specifically sales and Diamond Select toys is they're getting spun out together, and they're either Jeppy's going to run it, himself, or it's getting sold as a unit.
Right.
It's very specifically the comics portion of Diamond Comic Distributors that is pretty much in jeopardy. I can't say too much to that because I didn't work with them. That wasn't my department.
Right.
I know that there's a lot of, I mean, you guys have heard all the retailer horror stories. I heard the retailer horror. I had to deal with it. I would call retail like, hey, what's going on? And I get yelled at for things I literally don't have anything to do with, because I'm
right.
like, dude, I'm here to sell you toys. I'm sorry about your shipment.
Yeah.
This is your customer service rep. I'll be sure to let them know you are unhappy. So anyway, Funko Pops. How many you want?
Yeah.
That was my job.
Yeah.
So I will say that I feel like this was a very slow and miserable death.
Yes.
I feel like even when I was there, I felt like actually when I was there is when that humongous like 1 million copies of Star Wars was number one was sold to Loot Crate, and like I know some people were excited, but I didn't feel that at Diamond. I felt like it was a good sale, like whoever did it did a good job, but like it also felt like hollow. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Star Wars only sold 1 million copies, but that's because Loot Crate took it. So it's not really like a
it felt like an artificial sale.
Exactly. It just didn't feel like a great moment for comics. Throughout my time there, I don't know that I ever felt that like this is good for comics. Even if I was selling toys, I mean, obviously I kept up with the industry. I mean, I worked in the industry.
Was Alliance separate from what you were doing, Raph?
Yes, they're a sister company.
Okay, got it.
So like, just like Diamond Select Toys is a sister company, so is Alliance. I believe Alliance has already been sold off.
Yes, yeah, them as well as Diamond UK. I believe were the ones that were just purchased by Universal, which is a Canadian distribution company. Yeah, exactly. So they're now heading north, and that'll be their main thing to deal with for a little while. Nothing else going on. Nothing else.
I'm going to get some Tim Hortons there at the Alliance break room, eh?
Yeah, you sound more Minnesotan than you do Canadian.
Yeah,
my Minnesotan and my Canadian tend to blend. I'm not very good at either one, so they kind of become both.
Well, you also got to remember. You got to listen up, bud. You also got to remember it's just Timmy's. It's not Tim Hortons. It's just Timmy's.
Right.
Okay?
No, it's just Timmy's.
Go ahead and get your Timbits over at Timmy's. Yeah,
exactly. You go over. You get your Timbits. You get your coffee. You get to go.
And now I remember my friend who lives in Winnipeg came to visit me, and like remember he posted, "Oh yeah, I'm at Tim's, right now, just getting my last, Tim Hortons in." And I was like, we have them in the United States. He did not know this.
Yeah.
Like, it blew his mind. So now whenever I see one here in New York, I just automatically send them photos.
There's only, I think, 2 of them left in New York City, one of which is in Queens. But
it's the one in Jamaica.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's one in Jamaica, and I think there might be one more, but Buffalo.
Midtown, I think?
No, Midtown's been closed for years.
Okay. Oh God, I still, not to even go off on too much of a tangent on this, but I still remember when Timmy's started rolling out down here.
Yeah,
I was like freaking manna from heaven. People lost their goddamn minds.
Yeah, and then they were gone within, I think, 5 years.
Yeah,
because Duncan has such a stronghold. Like that was it. Buffalo, though. Anywhere you go in Buffalo, there's a Tim Hortons within like a mile of each other. So that's
that's border. That's the border.
Exactly.
Wait. There's a Tim Hortons in Sheepshead Bay.
What?
There is?
Get out of here.
According to ye old Google Maps, it's on Avenue X.
What the
and
hell?
I think this looks like Garrett. Let me hold on. I'm trying to Knapp Street.
Avenue X.
I gotta head down to Sheepshead Bay and get me some Timbits then.
What? That is that is
the
insane.
podcast has to end. We're all taking a road trip.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, look, it means we're down the street from Lucia Pizza. So
Okay.
Yeah, wow. The Tim
some of the
Hortons
best pizza in New York.
Tim Hortons website lists it, so it's real.
It's in Timmy's.
Yeah, closes at 10 p.m. So I know where I'm not going after this because it's 9:16.
Oh yeah, it's way too late. For that.
Exactly.
Especially for you. You're all the way up.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's. So Donovan's been patiently waiting while we talk about freaking donuts. So,
DMT in the house.
Hi, everybody.
hey,
How y'all doing?
buddy. Thoughts and opinions on the imploding massacre known only as Diamond?
Honestly, I think you guys are a lot more in tune to that than I am.
Yeah.
I saw it, but I have not been keeping a close eye on. Like I think Raph said, it was like a long, slow death, and
Yeah.
I was interested to see if you guys saw this coming. How shocked it is,
Oh,
like
yeah.
like levels of sadness to madness. I was just interested to hear what you guys had to say about that because I'm aware of it, but I never really kind of went by Diamond. I was kind of like just show up to a shop and buy a comic kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can I do my favorite line?
Yes.
Ian knows what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
Well, okay.
Diamond. I mean, we to summarize what was said before you got on, Dono. Like Diamond had a stranglehold for way too long. They were cocky about it. They would, shortchange the stores. They would make unreasonable demands on small publishers that were impossible to actually hold. And something that I brought up is they never bothered to get into the digital space. And I think that would have really changed things when they had the opportunity to do so. And as Chris pointed out, which is a really good point, had they been the ones to buy Comixology, maybe you could what if until the cows come home, but like maybe things that would have turned out a little bit different.
I have no idea because I will say the comics industry has never been particularly known for being technologically advanced. I mean, honestly, no media format like the industry around it has never really been up to the times. Like the music industry was dragged kicking and screaming because of Napster.
Absolutely.
I would say it was probably the Kindle that dragged the publishing industry in terms of like not comics but everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what would have happened if Diamond bought Comixology. I just think about before the before time with before Amazon. And it's interesting to me that I was at South by Southwest, I think, when they announced their I think it was their Marvel initiative. They announced the Infinite Comics, if I remember correctly. And then they were like, hey, we're giving away 700 comics for free. And then Comixology was completely unusable for like 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
It wasn't, it wasn't 700 comics. They gave away, and I still have this.
It was every single #1 issue.
Exactly.
So maybe I'm thinking 700 because that's how many I personally
There you go.
have.
Yeah.
And like after that, it was like, well, I can't log in anymore, so I guess I'm done. And the only reason I got as many as I did is I was in the room when they made the announcement. So I immediately logged in and just started clicking buy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is us all having grown up in the comics thing. We like you get something for free. You get something you previously didn't have. You cling to it. You're
God.
like, yes. Like it's something I have to like unlearn it. I think it's part of poor kid brain too.
Yeah.
You all know poor kid brain.
yes,
Poor
yes,
kid
yes.
brain's a little son of a bitch.
Well, but also going back to it. I mean, you mentioned the whole Marvel Unlimited thing, and I think of how much of a benefit at the time it was when you could purchase a Marvel comic physically and it would come with the code and you'd have it digitally like that. If Diamond had gone into the digital space and done something along those lines and made the deals with the publishers and, to even have that happen on, say, Image or something like that,
Right.
would have been a godsend to the reader, but could have also very well drawn more business into the physical as well, because if they were so afraid of physical being angry, if they were to launch some sort of digital initiative, like that's how you get around it. You do both. Like
I never understood something. I'm going to throw this idea out into the universe. It's probably long past where it would have been useful because most of us grew up in the era, we remember the night. I know Jamal's older than us, but he remembers the trading card era.
Yeah.
Hell
And
yeah.
honestly, I
That's how I
love
got in.
those trading cards. Yeah, because like I was looking at comics before that, but like that's how I learned the characters and their backstories. And what I thought would have been a great idea when they were trying to push digital and get people in transition is digital trading cards that go with the issue. Like you buy an issue and Black Panther's in it, and you put in the code and it gives you the Black Panther card with the backstory and everything.
Isn't that called Marvel Snap? I don't know. Like,
well, Marvel Snap doesn't have stuff written on the back of it telling you about the character. Yeah. Like, honestly, this would have been such a good idea to even just get people in the comics because having that information accessible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't Marvel try to do that with the Marvel AR stuff? Like,
yes.
I seem to remember them trying to make some kind of foray in that direction.
They did, yeah. The AR stuff in general, that was definitely an initiative where you could press the button and get get a bio pop up or get an interview with the creator.
Yeah, I feel like it was poorly communicated because what I thought AR, I think it was like I feel like they were pushing more things like sound and animation and just stuff that just looked nice.
Yeah,
like if you had sold it to the intended audience more as similar to like DVD commentary,
right?
Or if you had said these are basically like trading cards, we're giving you AR trading cards, I think people would have been wearing it because I think I have a few issues AR. I never did it.
Yeah,
but I did. I actually thought it was cool. I mean, but again, we're still talking about an industry that for lack of better ideas is still counting on monthly comics as a loss leader to fund themselves.
Yeah, and we're past that. I mean, yes, I know most of the people probably listening to this are not, and that's fine, but also we should be past that in some form or another. Like digitally, sure, but like the week-to-week stuff is really, really hard, especially if you live in a one-bedroom apartment in the Bronx, but that's beside the point.
I can't do it. I haven't been able to do it in years. It's not even just space. It's making the time in the week to read it. Like they would just pile up. You talked about those digital codes. I sometimes had comics sitting around on Red. I hadn't even put the codes in. They expired.
Yeah.
But even more specifically, kids don't read comics that way.
Yeah. They don't.
Yeah.
They just don't.
It's poor value for their money.
Right.
Like, kids have maybe a little more money than they did when we were younger, but that's inflation. That's not because kids are suddenly rich.
Yeah.
If my mom used to give me $20 a week and that was for lunch. I was 25, $5 was my allowance. The other 20 was for food. So obviously you can guess what I did, which was not eat.
Right.
or I would eat school lunches, which was $1. So I would take the rest of the money and spend that on comics. And now I look back on that, I'm like, holy shit, what a waste of money. I love comic books, but that was not a good value.
Yeah,
for my money at the time.
But back then you could get like $10.
Oh yeah.
Every week for that $20.
In junior high, my every single week thing was on a Wednesday. I would take the bus. I'd get off at Kings Highway and Coney Island Avenue. I would go to the combo KFC Taco Bell. I would have myself a chalupa baja and a triple zinger sandwich. I would take the B68 from there and take it to Avenue X and go get my comics. And then I would either walk back or I'd take the bus back and that was my weekly my weekly there. Whatever money I had left went to comics.
Idea for an episode is we should have a thing where we talk about our routines.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Everyone had a routine, and I love hearing about them. I think they're very sweet.
Yeah. I could tell you exactly what my routine was when I was at Art and Design.
Yeah,
Wednesday, Forbidden Planet. Friday, Crystal Cave.
There you go. Yep. Boom.
I wouldn't give to have my routine back.
Oh man.
Oh, Ian, I wanted to give you just reminded me. So as I call her, my pseudo stepniece just celebrated her 17th birthday, and my brother gave her what was it called? Fumie, the Junji Ito comic.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Sumie or Fumie. I think it's Fumie. And he bought it at Bulletproof.
Oh, Nice. Very
My
cool.
brother is a weirdo who just doesn't use the internet that much.
Yeah.
So he drove around to every bookstore.
Hank's
to
still
try to
making
find
money.
A copy of this.
Yeah, Hank's still in business. Hank's still making
Good
money.
old
So
Yeah.
yep, good old Bulletproof. Still sets up at all the New York Comic Cons, and even drives out to C2E2 and sets up in Chicago every now and then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would say anybody you visit New York. I'm not going to say it's not a comic shop that's going to blow your mind or anything, but it's a good, solid comic store.
Absolutely.
Hank is a nice guy, and the reason they stay in business because they sell skating shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my
Yes.
former clients.
Yeah, and he's also a good friend to Buzz, and Buzz does art auctions with him all the damn time over Bulletproof as well. So definitely check him out if you get the opportunity. All right, I feel like we need to transition. It's not anything better.
Oh no! I need to drink more.
You might need to. I'm starting off less on the what the fuck of it all, and there's definitely going to be cursing going on, but DC Comics has now officially pulled upcoming Neil Gaiman titles. They were the last to drop, essentially. They had planned a Death DC Compact Comics edition. We discussed here on the show how well the compact editions have been doing and how good of an idea it was. Obviously, you put out a Death comic because Death is one of the characters that's most recognizable of the Vertigo era and all that. And they had that planned. They have now pulled that. They've also pulled a facsimile edition of Sandman that was going to be published, and essentially they're now putting all Neil Gaiman stuff on hold. Neil Gaiman has also become persona non grata at Dark Horse. Anything that was going to be published there is now no longer.
Including the Anansi Boys series, which was it's not even done.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think issue 7 just came out.
Yes. Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, anything that was solicited, they are going to put out, but there will not be a collected edition anytime soon.
Which sucks because Sean Martinborough was doing fantastic work on that series.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it was one thing when it was allegations, especially from.
It still is technically. It still technically is.
No, I know. What I was getting to though is that when it was allegations last year on the sister of Boris Johnson's podcast,
we live in the stupidest timeline.
Oh,
Can
I know.
we just get that out there? We live in the dumbest ass timeline.
And then it was is it real? Is it not? Further allegations came out. There was a full, very, very well researched article that was released.
It's straight up investigative journalism right there.
Oh no, 100% so. I'm sorry. Who was the publisher of that? Chris, do you remember?
It was New York Magazine.
It was New York Magazine.
Which
Thank
I
you.
believe is Condé Nast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why, and I haven't really fully got into it. I'm trying to back away from arguing with some of our Facebook people.
Yes.
But I did make the point. I said, it is New York Magazine. It is a major corporation. There's no way they didn't run this by their lawyers before it went out the door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
They might be allegations, but they are allegations that in court there will be a very lengthy trial if Neil had decided to sue, which he has not thus far.
Yeah.
So
the women would have had to break their NDAs to contribute to this. So there's real legal blowback that is risking should this come out as total lies, but the odds of that after you go through that whole article is slim to none. This isn't just online hearsay. This is reports being done, and now police as of right now, police charges have been filed.
Yes, they have.
I think it was just a civil suit at this point.
Neil Gaiman and his wife sued for rape and human trafficking a babysitter.
That's suing.
Yes.
Suing is civil.
Yeah.
So we don't have criminal charges just yet.
No.
It's still really bad to even get that far.
Oh, absolutely. And frankly, but by the way, just because you mentioned the NDAs, Donovan, that's something that industry-wide NDAs are being misused, and especially when it comes to sexual shit, that's inexcusable. and that was what Vince McMahon used in wrestling to try to
Diddy.
Well, the thing with an NDA is the way you're enforcing it, whether or not it's fair, is the fact that the person who you force to sign it has no legal power.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have the money to fight you in court. You can steamroll them and ruin their lives. The thing is, though, is that we are reaching this point where going after someone for breaking their NDA is now incurring the Streisand effect.
Yes.
Should Neil decide to sue because they broke their NDAs, he's basically confirming everything that was said. And even if it's not true, he's still shining this huge spotlight on it.
Yeah.
And
it was brought up on the Facebook group, and the question has been out there by everybody. It's like, do you punish those who are just trying to do a job because Neil Gaiman happened to be involved with a specific property? And Sandman will be concluding with season 2, whether it was meant to or not. It is concluding with season 2. Good Omens, is concluding with a 90-minute special rather than a full season.
And they confirmed the money is not going to Neil.
Yes,
that
is
the Pratchett estate came out.
Yeah,
that's an interesting question because, let's take for example someone who was already had their allegations out there. Like, what do we do with the actors who have worked with Woody Allen?
Yeah.
Do we? We don't really go. Oh,
I mean, even the suggestion, what do we do with them, is kind of this. It's odd because these are situations I think we're finding ourselves that are kind of new in terms of how do we navigate this morality, and I think that like whatever does happen shouldn't be judged with the same level of intensity as Neil Gaiman himself.
Yeah,
right.
And I think. Yeah, and I think that as well. And I do think that it's a personal choice whether or not you're going to not read your book that you already own. Or...
I think it's dumb to I bought this book 30 years ago and I'm just going to stop reading it. Unless it's causing you personal distress to read it.
Exactly.
If you actually want to read it, read it. It's not, you're not enriching Neil and you're not condoning his behavior.
Yeah.
A good story still stays a good story.
Exactly. And
I have feelings when it comes to this. Sorry, I guess since I'm on that thread.
Your feelings, which I'll bring up, is that it's a lot easier when they're already dead.
Oh yeah, I got into this with Martha once because I said I think when she went to see MJ the musical, and as I said, it's easier when they're dead.
Yeah, I saw MJ the musical as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a piece of media. They do a very good job of not mentioning what the allegations are, but saying that there were allegations. It's just part
Michael
of it.
Jordan?
No, not that one.
He's a terrible person.
Although at one point he did have a Hitler mustache, but that's beside the point. That's my,
that was a good look.
Jordan, yeah, glad he shaved that off. But I think that the question out there, canceling his standing projects and stuff like that. I think it makes perfect sense for people like Disney and DC and Marvel and Amazon to want to distance themselves, at least for now, even if they are still allegations, and even if it's being sued and not actually a formal charges one way or the other. It makes perfect sense to want to distance themselves from him right now because it's not a good look.
They're in a no-win situation with that one because if they continue on with the projects, people will attack them for enabling his behavior.
Absolutely.
And and honestly, the thing is, any work he gets now will go towards funding any legal defense.
Yes.
You don't want to be on that side. And, of course, the opposite is, you canceled it. Well, now you've hurt all his collaborators. Except the thing is, I'm not trying to be an asshole about this, but there are so many things that can cancel a project.
Oh, yeah.
But when it comes to cancellation, quote unquote, that type of social cancellation because someone committed some unspeakable act, that seems to be the only time we were like, oh, no, their livelihoods. And I'm like, there are so many other things. Why is this the one that we choose to fix?
Oh, it's not just Neil. Let's not forget that Amanda Palmer is involved in all this as well.
Oh, boy, is she.
Yeah. It's not just Neil's projects, but Amanda's Amanda's former bandmates and Dresden Dolls.
Was she even paying them is the question.
Yes, exactly.
That's been the running thing about Amanda Palmer for years. Is a lot of people just hate her guts.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was came out of the fact that she even did a whole TED talk and wrote a book about how she never paid for anything.
Yes,
I would love to know whether or not that because on my TDF there was a talk with Amanda Palmer that kept being advertised in the weeks before this news came out and was even still being advertised as of like 2 days ago. I wonder whether or not she actually went through with that, because that's interesting.
Also, Neil Gaiman has like those kind of like online celebrity, this is how you do this business kind of like workshops.
Master class, they took it down. The master class is gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's 404.
I saw it on Reddit today. So
I saw it on Reddit today. I saw it like last night. I read it.
Yeah, Reddit fans.
Plus,
and just as an aside, can we stop trying to blame everything on autism?
oh yes,
Okay,
100%.
because I'm autistic.
Yeah.
Being autistic doesn't automatically make you an asshole.
No.
Wait. Has that come into play with him?
Yes, it has.
Did they mention that in the article? Because I don't remember that.
They did not mention that in the article, but I have seen it mentioned in other places online.
And I know the reason you again, we don't want to bring out the real world too much, but it also came up in Elon's little Sig Heil.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you're autistic, and we know other autistic people, and you know that higher functioning people, they do something that offensive, they're immediately on the defensive, like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure if you did something that accidentally offended someone, Jamal, you'd be effusive in trying to make it right.
But you know me.
Yes, exactly.
Well, you've never done anything to really offend me, so probably because you are a nice person.
You're one of the nicest human beings I know, Jamal. So that's
24 hours later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like we don't think autistic people are all saints either.
Yeah.
But using it as an excuse in the other direction, it's just like, it's so offensive.
Yeah.
I thought the most compelling thing for why is Gaiman like this? Because we were talking about this, on Instant Messenger. It was such a shock that he could be a perpetrator of these kinds of crimes. The whole thing that they get into with the Scientology background, which I had no knowledge of, but that did a lot of way to psychologically bring you towards how he might have been brought to end up operating like this, I guess, because of which I didn't know about it either. But in terms of most probably he was abused in terms of how he was raised and stuff, which again, that's not an excuse, but it's an explanation to his mindset. I was like, okay, otherwise it's like kind of comes out of nowhere.
Well, hold on. I just want to say that his response, the response that he posted on his website to me was quite possibly one of the worst moves he could have possibly made. Because
that's the worst response I've heard since Drake's The Heart Part 6.
Wow, job well done. Possibly the worst thing since O.J. Simpson's If I Did It.
Wow. So
I mean, because there was a lot of I don't remember it that way, but some of this stuff happened. But if it did, it was totally consensual. It was. I was disappointed insofar as that he is such a good writer that I would have thought that in one way or the other, guilty or innocent, the truth would have come out, and it felt like such a Xeroxed kind of corporate response. I was like, he most likely probably did this because that is not honest.
Yeah. So I'm going to repeat what I think I said this in chat. I didn't say it on the podcast, but going back to when the allegations first came out last year, right? And people were just saying they're just allegations. And this came up in our Comic Timing Facebook group.
Right.
And my point then was, okay, you know what? For all I know, maybe these women are exaggerating. Maybe they're remembering it wrong. But then you still have the key fact that he stooped the help.
Yeah.
And he stooped one of his tenants. And these are both huge no-nos merely because of the power imbalance.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. And that seems to be one of the things that's coming out the most in this entire thing is power imbalance.
Yeah, because the one I didn't I knew more about Scarlett. Now we have more information about them. But the woman who was much older and went along with the abuse because she lived on his property.
Right.
That I mean, the whole thing with Scarlet was gross, but that also, I was like, that is how older people who do know better can still get into these situations.
And frankly, it's a damn shame everything that happened. Obviously, there's going to be further developments on this. This is not the last we're going to hear about it.
No,
being sued is step one. Step two would be actual formal charges against him, and where that goes after that. And I fully admit, I'm probably going to watch season 2 of Sandman. I know that he's stepped away from production, and I know that this is something that is a choice that everybody gets to make for themselves. It's a story that I enjoy, and I want to see how the hell they're going to wrap it up, and that's it. Alan Heinberg is the main man behind it. The actual show. And Damon had input. So
I do have thoughts on, like, because everybody's saying, oh, the show's been canceled, and some people are like, yeah, well, Alan Heinberg actually said it was only going to be 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And even if that was 2 years ago, I actually did click on a link and I couldn't get it to load. So if somebody wants to tell me, no, he actually did, whatever. It makes no sense to me as someone who has read those stories over and over again, because they were saying we're just focusing on Dream's story, which you could argue, no, the whole thing is supposed to be Dream's story because it's about building out this fleshed out world. Mm-hmm. But if you really are talking about just focusing on the parts with the character of Morpheus, then it makes no sense. They've already confirmed that this season is going to cover Season of Mist and Brief Lives. That would be book 4 and I think Brief Lives is either 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And you can skip, like, most of the others. You can skip, talking about them in the trade paperback names. You can skip Fables and Reflections because that's an anthology. A Game of You is about the character of Barbie, right? Mm-hmm. World's End is sort of like a Canterbury Tales-esque anthology. But then they're skipping Kindly Ones, which is about, spoilers, everyone. It's about Morpheus's death. Yeah. It is 12 issues talking about, like, basically, his end. The seeds for it have been planted in the comic series, and they've been planted in the TV show as well.
Yeah.
Like, there was stuff, that was, I definitely thought that they were going to do Kindly Ones because they definitely brought in Lyra?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. No, Lyda Hall. Lyda Hall and her weird-ass pregnancy. And the thing is that does factor in. I'm not going to spoil the details, for people who actually are interested in to see how it unfolds. But you can't honestly tell me, oh, yeah, we're adapting Dream's story and then skip that arc. Yeah. That is the actual end. You could skip the last volume, The Wake. And again, I'm only counting the original 10 volumes, not all the stuff published after.
Right. Sure, of course. Yeah.
Skipping Kindly Ones is just it. That's it smacks of just like it's like insincere to me.
Yeah, why would they try to save face, like, it's embarrassing to say that, like, we can't continue because of these allegations? Why would they kind of put across that disingenuous post up? We always
that's more corporate than anything else. They need to be able to have a certain amount of coverage, and they need to not alienate people who might be potentially interested in watching the show by saying, oh, well, we're canceling it because
and in 2020
it was the creator is involved in all this stuff.
Finding the piece from 2022, by the way, it was an NME article. Asked how many seasons they've planned, Heinberg said, "We've got as many as they'll let us have. If enough viewers show up, we can go for quite a long while. We want to do all of it. We want a spin-off miniseries. We'd love to make it for as long as they'll have us."
Provided the creator isn't a predator.
Yeah. All of the stuff I was most afraid of, we figured out a way to do. There were moments early on where I was like, I have no idea how we're going to do this on camera, and we figured them all out. We only started with the first 400 pages this season, so we cut it down quite a bit, but we hope to get to all of them. This was 2022. Yeah. So that doesn't sound like I only had 2 seasons planned.
Nope.
No.
And as I said, if you are only adapting the parts that star Morpheus as opposed to doing world building, you still need 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
that's not just me being a nerd. That's me. I'm going to say I am being pedantic when it comes to this. That's exactly what he would have needed to make this story work.
Yeah. And we'll see. We'll see how they close it up. I mean, like you said, they might rush in some other stuff to try to have a proper conclusion. But
it's gonna, I feel like what's gonna happen is they are like, if they're doing brief lives, they'll try to make some kind of ending out of that, but it's not gonna be the proper ending that the comic has. It's, again, I'll probably watch it because it's just one season. I don't know what's going to happen to them. I mean, Netflix has my money anyway.
Yeah. Do you think they'll try to introduce Daniel?
I mean, as a child, maybe. I don't. Yeah, it's weird. Again, I don't want to speculate too much about what's going to happen. And again, I'll be honest. I don't really want to spoil it for people because now they're rediscovering it anew. I have mixed feelings about whether or not something's a spoiler. I read an article the other day. They were talking about, like, Timothée Chalamet was trying to talk about Dune Messiah, and he was like, I don't know, how do you spoil a 50-year-old book? And the article was like, you don't, boy. You don't. It's okay to talk about it.
I'm really glad you didn't say, and then Timothée Chalamet was trying to talk about A Complete Unknown, and it, like, no. That's a whole other situation. Like, you can't spoil real life. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
I actually did want to address the Scientology stuff. We were also talking about this in chat, like what was known and what wasn't known. And first off, I thought the New York Magazine piece was so good, not just because it was like investigative journalism where we're talking to these women and we're also corroborating their stories with things like, like when, where, when, and why, and all that stuff, right?
Text messages and emails and all that.
Yeah, like actual data. But what that article did, and again, I didn't really listen to the podcast, but from everything I gleaned from reports on it, is it didn't have the context that the New York Magazine piece had, which included the Scientology stuff. Neil Gaiman's Scientology background was sort of not, like, it's not the Whisper Network stuff, talking about like Neil, the way he would act around fans. That was Whisper Network. I was not in on the Whisper Network, so I'll admit, I was shocked last year when I heard the allegations. When I read the article and then they brought up the Scientology stuff, that's when everything just fell into place for me. I was just like, because there had always been, again, there's been talk about it, not rumors, but it was always like Neil's parents were Scientologists, but he's not really a Scientologist. He just thinks of himself as Jewish because he's ethnically Jewish. Like, that was the line that people would push whenever it would come up. It didn't come up often, but when it did, because, this is why it's been such a hard fall and why we're talking about this. We've been talking about this for weeks, honestly, at this point.
Hardest fall.
Yeah,
it's such a hard fall. And the thing is, he had such a devoted following. And that's, and that's when I did start to see the cracks, as you would try to ask about the Scientology thing and people would attack you and they would get on it. But there were some people that would kind of continually chisel at it. But to see it just kind of exploded in this article, and they brought up, like, how would they punish kids in the church? And it's very similar to some of the stuff talked about, the abuse talked about in the article.
Yeah.
And, to find out that, I didn't know the story about with the ocean at the end of the lane.
Oh,
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been the big one. For the people who aren't aware, that's the book that came out in like 2013. I'll admit, I read it. I didn't like it, not because of the growth, like the abuse stuff in it, just because I thought it was boring.
I saw the West End version in London when I was there, and it was okay.
It's a very boring book. That's what I found. And now I'm like, shit, I might have to reread it because they were talking about some of the things in the book actually happened. And specifically the thing that came out in these past months and everything, and now, especially with this article, is the fact that he basically wrote the fact there was like a student who died on his parents' property, like some Scientology students, and then he just kind of put it in the book. I barely even remember this. And I'm like, oh shit, this is like, I feel like this is a lot deeper than we know.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about the Calliope story. That to me was like, because I would say before, with like folks like John Byrne or whatever, there should be with these creators a paper trail of their work that lends them to their psychoses. But like with Neil Gaiman, there's like not much of anything. And then the Calliope story came up, and I was like, which I hadn't read before. I was like, oh shit, okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't like looking at a creator's work and being like, oh, they wrote about rape and thus they're a rapist. Like, you should be able to write. Yeah, you should be able to write about that stuff. And as even the article pointed out, people used to look at that and be like, well, that's a sign of his empathy. Yeah. The thing is, like, the fact that there are phrases in that story that are also in the article, that's where you're just like, holy shit, there's definitely like a thing. Because the story, I think it's a good story, honestly. I noticed that when they adapted it for the TV series, they definitely toned it down. Like, they didn't show anything on camera. like there is stuff shown on panel that you normally wouldn't, like, they're showing the actual rape that happens in the story.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna go into, like, because when the news first broke, we put on Facebook, we had some rules for discussion of this. The two of those rules actually came from me, and I do feel like I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because Ian's rule was like, obviously, don't call anybody names, don't attack them directly, and that's just standard like debate procedure.
Yeah.
Don't
Of course.
straw man bullshit.
Yeah.
The one was obviously do not no victim blaming.
Yeah.
And I do want to address that. Earlier I was talking about how, like, there was the older woman that was abused by Gaiman, and I said I should have known better. Mm-hmm. And I'm not blaming the younger woman for what happened to her. I go with the line, when you we talk about stealing candy from a baby, there's a reason that expression exists.
Yeah.
That just because you can do it, you shouldn't. But, you do read that story and you're just like, you can just see there's just like so many mistakes being made. But again, you don't hurt someone just because they're vulnerable and they make dumb decisions. That was generally what I wanted to lay down there. Like, It's not useful debate talking about what this girl, what these women should have or shouldn't have done. That's kind of where I was coming from there. Because again, like, ultimately what Gaiman did was wrong, and he knew that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. You should be allowed to make dumb decisions in your life without somebody taking advantage of it.
No question. Yeah.
I think that's probably what I want to say here. Again, not victim blaming. It's just like, because I know, especially in a male dominated atmosphere like comics, like that was going to come up a few times. Like, why would they do that? And you can talk about the cult of personality, but the biggest thing that came out to me again is the fact that, like, Scarlett was incredibly vulnerable because she was like living in her property, watching their kids. She had no family to go to because she was abused as a kid, which also made her vulnerable to further abuse.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, she had no money. Like, she was just incredibly vulnerable. Like, she had no power in this situation.
Yeah.
They said that she was gay as well. Like she, there wasn't any kind of like romantic thing to open up with. It was just control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that was the first rule, was just like, don't blame people. Like, you can talk about the mistakes they made, but ultimately remember that the perpetrator, the person who did the thing, is the one we should be focusing on. The other rule, and this goes with a lot of debates, and it was like, I never want to hear from, especially all of you on this call, their work was never any good anyway.
That's bullshit.
You can just fuck right off with that. Because first, like, I've talked about this when it came to J.K. Rowling, because you never mind that you are like kind of dismissing the people getting upset about it. You are saying the people who liked the work were dumb, I guess, and stupid, and they should have known. Which also goes right back to the thing I said, like, it is blaming the victim. Like, we are all victims in a way of gaming, because, like, we bought into this whole persona. We enjoyed his work.
Yes.
Like, I'm not his friend. I didn't interact with Neil Gaiman, but, like, I've been to book signings and readings and everything. And he always seemed like a really cool guy and a nice person to have on our side when it came to comics. Like, he was a great spokesman.
Yeah.
A lot of people know who Neil Gaiman is. My mom could probably recognize him on the street.
Yeah. Pretty much the entire existence of Hot Topic for 20 years was Death Chic, so
yeah, but it's just it goes into the whole, like, if you're saying their work was never any good, then you're positing that bad people can only create bad work. And good people can only create good work, and we know that's bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bad people create great stuff all the time, and I mean, good people create absolute fucking shit. Yeah. Like Rob Liefeld, our constant punching bag here at Comic Typing. He is a nice guy. Like, but that always comes up whenever we start making fun of his feet or pockets. We're like, but Rob Liefeld has always been gracious to his fans. Again, your work is not a reflection of your internal morality, which is, again, why I lose my shit when people say it was never any good anyway. I'm like, do not give me that bullshit.
The coward's way out.
It is, yeah. And that goes back to what we said earlier. Like, you're allowed to like or dislike somebody's work. Like, that's perfectly fine, and it is up to you to make that decision, even after they've done shitty shit. But to then just dismissively blanket on that their work is useless, completely just it ruins it, and you are basically saying that anybody who thinks otherwise is stupid, and that's not the case. So Plain and simple.
I mean, it's still good work.
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman was a great writer. I say it was because I'll be honest, we've talked about this show before. I kind of fell out of love with him.
Right.
It started with the Eternal series where I was like, man, his dialogue is so cliched. Cliched in the sense for Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
You know, when there was no growth. But this, again, his early work was still good. I'm still going to stand by. I made the personal decision. I'm not throwing my books out. A lot of them are signed, even.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the rest signed now because that's going to be fucking weird. You know?
I don't think you're going to have the opportunity, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it kind of depends on how he chooses to go. He could be like Vic Mignogna, who is just like, I'm going to do like guerrilla sightings, you know, out in parking lots. He's, you know, Vic Mignogna basically became like the new Virgil.
God.
Okay. So,
Oh my God.
R.I.P. Virgil, by the way.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
R.I.P. Virgil / Vincent, man.
Yeah.
The Anime Con in Houston that he's a part of, and apparently he started a recording studio with, makes me very sad.
Oh God.
Because they also have like a major Godzilla presence, and I want to go to the con, but
Yeah.
Vic Mignogna,
Yeah.
and I don't want to support it because he's there, and it, you know what I mean? Like it hurts.
Oh, yeah.
That hurts
Yeah.
my feelings.
No,
I still have
I
not
believe it's
watched.
still tolerated.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that 11-hour documentary about him.
You're probably better off.
Because it's 11 hours. Apparently, it's excellent.
Well, I know what I'm going to
It's
do
11
tomorrow.
hours.
I know what I'm
I
going to do
know.
tomorrow.
How do you even do that? That's
So
probably
it takes
why I want to
like
watch
more
it.
than a week to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I watched that documentary on the
4-hour one?
Yeah, on the Star Wars hotel and how that failed.
Galactic Starliner.
Yeah, Galactic Starliner.
Oh, the Jenny Nicholson one. I did watch. I
Yes.
did see that before.
Oh my God. Jeez. All right. I think we can safely move on. I think we did a good job of laying
quick.
things down on this. Yep. Ref.
Grant Morrison is still my unproblematic GOAT. Take that.
For now.
Yes, exactly. For now.
For now, I mean, I know we want to move on, but I haven't read it. I know some of you have read Super Gods, and people have been pulling
Yes.
quotes out of Super Gods, and they're like, I think this is about Neil. I think
Okay.
this is about Neil. And then,
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
read it in a long time, so I have to.
yeah,
I have
because
to find
he
it.
talks about creators having relationships with their fans. And how he felt like this personally was very inappropriate because of the power dynamic.
Yeah.
He did apparently, again, having not read it, you guys have. If you're going to reread it, we can talk about it some other time. But also, he mentions that Neil was very busy cultivating an image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's why this has been such a hard fall. He actually did a great job of cultivating that image.
He did.
And
Yeah.
it's been blown to bits, you know.
Can I have some levity here?
Sure.
You mentioned him, so I'm going to go ahead and transition over to our old pal Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Can I just say I did not mean to do that?
Oh, I know you didn't, but and look, I'm not spending that much time on this because it's his personal decision and whatever, but Rob Liefeld, the reason that Rob Liefeld decided that his most recent work with Marvel Comics was going to be his last was he felt slighted at the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere for not being invited to after parties, and he felt like he was being ignored at the event itself and on the red carpet, and even said that Kevin Feige does not treat comic book creators well. Interesting.
I don't really know
To
how
which
to feel
Gail Simone says, they invited me to the after party.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, again, I think we've talked about this before. Like, Rob loves to trade on the fact that he created Deadpool, but the Deadpool we actually give a shit about was not
Kelly.
his invention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe Kelly, Nicieza, like they're the ones who
yeah.
built out the personality.
I do have to say one thing, though. Chris, you said that Rob is very,
Was he mean
very
to
good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
This has been established.
Yes.
you? Yeah.
he's nice to his fans.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan, he's a dick.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
I mean, I didn't say he was nice to other comics creators. I didn't say I never heard a bad story about it. That is really I'm just saying, like, because that's the thing, and you guys have said it, on these things, like, Rob's always been really gracious to his fans, and that's still a skill, and that's still admirable. Because how many times have you met comic creators who have just been dicks even to the fans?
Yeah,
I have.
And we just fucking take it because we want that autograph. We're like, I got his sweat on my hand. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, for me, it is an eye opener one way or the other. If I go up to a creator and I'm thanking them for their work or something like that, and I get okay. Then all right, okay, great. I've met him once, and I don't have to meet him again.
I honestly feel like that with Neil. Like, we talk about, again, I'm not trying to go back to the previous thing, but we talk about he's really nice, but honestly, if you talk to him at like a book signing, he seems so cold. That might be the autism. I don't fucking know.
Possibly.
All I would say is it always made me walk away feeling like I did something wrong.
Yeah, but I've only spoken to one. I've only spoken to talking. What the hell's talking? I've only.
That's what you're doing.
I'm talking here. I've only ever spoken to one creator of Deadpool, and that's Fabian Nicieza, and he's a sweetheart.
Beautiful man.
So, more power to him on that. I wonder if Fabian was invited to the after party.
I hope so.
I think he was.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably.
because
Did you see the line in the article about like this also has something to do with like the Roy Thomas lack of credit which we talked about months ago when that movie came out.
Yeah, we did.
And I was like,
which
wow.
is shit. Yeah, I know. Which just I don't know.
Yeah, we don't want to really hash that, but it was just super gross, especially when you can look at the paper trail and see how it's increased more that the people who can argue against it are dead.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Since I mentioned, people being dicks to fans, Ian will find this most relevant. Pros D put out a video about that, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like yesterday. Basically, he's like, this is my face. This is how I talk. No, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
No, I am actually okay.
Right.
Just who I am. Like, that was the entire video. And I was like, and I think because he's been getting a lot of people going, oh, he's so mean. And I'm like, no, he's just like a very kind of monotone
he's a
Asian
stoic
man.
guy. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monotone Asian man. Not what Raph is. I just
No, not at all.
Raph has many modulations. Many modulations.
I'm expressive.
Well, why aren't you a voice actor, Raph?
I mean, he can't.
No one's given me the opportunity.
Oh, okay. I did one thing once, and it was still good times, and I'm still very glad that I did it. And that's.
I would voice act. I just, you gotta audition or something, I guess. I don't know.
You have to push effort.
Although I look back on it now, and amusingly enough, it was a thing set in the far future where we were being attacked by the Google Wave. Anybody remember Google Wave?
Yeah.
I remember Wave. I also remember this audio thing. I remember you talking about it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good stuff. And I would like to thank good friend Alan, aka New Mutant, for making that happen back in the day. So good times. All right, let's transition over to things we actually enjoy and like talking about. Should we start Marvel animated or should we start DC animated? That's the question. Who's watched more of what here? Because I started watching Batman Caped Crusader, and I'm now up to date on Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So whatever the
I've seen both, so we can talk about both.
Okay, cool. Raph, have you seen any of either? Raph, you're muted.
Wait, am I?
Yeah, now you're not. Now you're not. Yeah.
I haven't watched much of either.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right. Well, then, let's start off with Batman Caped Crusader then, just because it's older, and I finally got my ass around to watching some of it. Now, this show's interesting because in some ways you could say it's Bruce Timm finally getting to do what he wanted to do with Batman years and years and years ago, but couldn't because there was a movie out. You could also say that about the later seasons of Batman, where the style of animation changed, and he got to redesign things and all that. This is not just Bruce Timm. This is also Ed Brubaker involved on the ground floor. and a couple of other names along the way. Executive producers of this include J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves. So you've got Batman pedigree, and you've got J.J. Abrams pedigree in there as well as executive producers. James Tucker in there, Sam Register, yada yada yada. I am surprised by just how much I thoroughly enjoy the hell out of the show. I was expecting to like it. I may be approaching love. I haven't finished yet. I will point that out. Where I got to is the episode after the Harley Quinn episode. So I'm just getting to what will eventually be the reveal of Two-Face and all that jazz, and Harvey Dent's fall and all that. But it really does a great job of capturing like the 1920s aesthetic of Batman while also at the same time like modernizing it. I know I'm probably going for like 40s, but that's whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I just completely dug the hell out of it. And Jamal, I'd love to get your thoughts on that as well.
I enjoyed it. I probably did not like it as much as you did, only because, and then in retrospect, because it's been a while since I've seen it, because I kind of shotgunned the whole thing.
Got it.
When it first came out, I think part of it is that we've had so many different versions of Batman.
Yes, we have
recently, and your brain starts kind of playing things against each other. I think one of the things that I enjoyed about this series was the evolving relationship between Bruce and Alfred.
Yes.
Because you can tell, like, they're very specifically going for a very young, version of Batman. He's just become Batman. He's maybe a year or so into being Batman at this point.
Yeah.
And he's still very much about his mission.
Yeah.
And to the point where he is actively dismissive of Alfred, which is not something you've ever really seen in other versions of Batman media. In other versions of Batman media, their relationship is much more familial.
He's very much shut up and get me my tea at times during this.
Yes, exactly.
Which is not the Batman that we know.
And that evolved over the course of the series. You haven't gotten to that point yet.
Yeah.
I enjoyed some of the changes. I thought, making the Penguin a woman was an interesting choice.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
It was definitely a new take.
Yes.
I'm not exactly sure if I like it or not, but I think overall, like, I enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah.
The Gentleman Ghost episode kind of took me out a little bit.
I knew they were gonna do it. Let's just put it that way. When I heard Bruce Timm was doing a new Batman series, I'm like, there's gonna be a Gentleman Ghost episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like he loves that sort of shit. Like he loves like the supernatural side of Batman, and at least like trying to like tie those two together. So it didn't exactly surprise me that was a direction that they decided to go for at least an episode. I will agree that it was kind of out of left field because we didn't get anything supernatural, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is.
Yeah, it takes you, I think, out of the narrative a little bit of what they were attempting to build.
Yeah, I can see that.
The Renee Montoya dynamic, that's a good part of what they've been doing with the show.
I think all the Gordon stuff has been great too. I mean, both Barbara and James, I think they did a really good job of both of them.
No, I absolutely agree. So again, it's not that I dislike the show. I like the show. I think I wanted a little bit more in some aspects.
Yeah.
Hamish Linklater, perfect.
He's my second favorite Batman voice now. Almost immediately.
Yeah. Like again, and I think the show coming out so soon after Kevin Conroy's unfortunate passing, for me, he will always be that voice.
Of course.
To me.
Yeah.
And we've had great Batman voices over the years, especially like over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Between Kevin and Hamish and Jensen Ackles, like they've all done like justice. Diedrich Bader, what's his face from Arrested Development?
Will Forte?
Will
Arnett.
Yeah. Like, it's
Bruce Greenwood too.
Bruce Greenwood.
Bruce Greenwood's one of my favorites.
Yes, absolutely.
Captain Pike.
one of them, not the important one, but one of them. Yeah,
not Black Bolt.
No.
No.
I love Jeremy Sisto from The New Frontier. I thought he was really good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But again, I think that he succeeded in making the role his own, as much as like Rino Romano did for the Batman.
Yep.
It becomes its own thing, so it works for this version of the character.
Yeah. And his Bruce Wayne is distinctively different from his Batman, which is something that I love in a Batman voice, that you can make the two sound distinctly different, which is something that Kevin Conroy really kind of invented in a lot of ways.
Yes,
because up until that point,
it was Adam West, who was literally the same voice in the film.
Exactly.
Yeah, I will point out, because I have the Batman animated book, which is long out of print, but if you can find a copy, grab it. And they do talk about the fact that they were originally going to have two different actors to play Batman, and then Kevin Conroy came in and nailed both. And now I feel like that's what's expected, is that you need to be able to do both, because let's be honest, it is just more realistic if you're going to be the same. You're still the same flesh and blood underneath.
Right.
Same can be said for Superman. Like Clark Kent is very different than Superman, and you have to make it as such.
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, come on. No question about that. And Conroy brought a Christopher Reeve aesthetic in a lot of ways to Batman, where it was, the softness of Bruce Wayne and the I am the Knight, and threw those both out there.
Perfected it really was Christian Bale.
No. Also, no.
Yes.
I couldn't even keep a straight face for like a second.
Where's the vial?
Can I get into the Cape Crusader
Go ahead, Donna.
discussion?
Yeah.
Because I liked it. I also didn't love it. And not for they made Penguin a woman for reasons, not really whatever. But for a show that has so many people behind it, like Bruce Timm and James Tucker and J.J. Abrams for some reason, and I think Ed Brubaker, and Matt Reeves, maybe there was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, because as a diehard like Batman animated series is my Bible. It's not necessarily that I'm searching for that every single time, but like I know what's the best about that show. I thought by comparison, I thought Cape Crusader was kind of weirdly sauceless. And by that I mean that, like, yes, they have the Golden Age aesthetic, they have the 40s aesthetic, you have Golden Age Catwoman, and Bob Kane designed Batman, all kind of stuff. It was odd because there wasn't a lot of like moments of like mood that really was sold by the show, I thought.
Right.
Like, even in the lamest Batman the Animated Series episodes, they could kind of go by a scene by just having Batman in the shadows looking awesome and have that music sting, and it's like, yeah, I'm watching the show, this is awesome. And I think too often there was like just kind of static boarding of Batman walking onto the scene with his cape behind him, not really looking like a dread creature of the night, but just like it's just Golden Age Batman. And I think that kind of spoke to a lack of style that I think the show was kind of being carried by his period setting and not by actual style. And that sounds really harsh, but like it was very far and few between where they kind of achieved that actual animated series style that they did 30 years ago, and just kind of did like, a 10 episode show. Now, I mean, I thought it got better halfway through this season. I thought that the Harley episode was great.
Yes, it is.
I like the Gentleman Ghost episode because I love Golden Age Batman when he does go up against otherworldly stuff, because that is from the Golden Age where, I mean, there's an issue where he fights, there are flowers with people's heads in them. So like it's weirdness. I liked the Nocturne episode. I dug that stuff, but I don't know. I kind of wanted something a lot moodier and creepier.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even with like, the Amazon Prime of it, where they can, kill people and swear and stuff. I mean, it didn't even seem as adult as they could have gone in terms of kind of striking a mood.
I think they still had to sort of go by whatever it is that Warner Brothers set up for them initially.
Yeah, well, exactly, because remember, it was originally going to be Cartoon Network / Max.
Right.
And then when Max did their whole "we don't like putting things out anymore" thing, it got saved by Amazon essentially, and that's where it wound up as its home, and that's where it continued.
Yeah, because I think by that point the show was already in production.
It was, yeah, definitely.
So,
yep.
Yeah, there was a lot of production problems that I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, but I thought it was good, not great. I do like the development of Bruce and Pennyworth. I thought that's kind of a neat idea. I don't think Batman himself is all that interesting in the show, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like him, but he kind of seems very I know Bruce Timm has this idea of him being so remote that he's kind of inhuman, but without the shadowy imagery and the kind of the striking terror in people's hearts, like that, he's kind of just a one note character. And I think that that's disappointing, because when you're asleep at the wheel, Batman can be that way easily, and he shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I know there's gonna be another season, so I hope that there's potential with where they end up in that last scene.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, good. I liked it, but I didn't love it, and I hope it's better the next season.
I still have, I think, 4 more episodes until I'm entirely done. The Gentleman Ghost episode, I think, was the last one that I watched. So I will say that I hope it ends well for me, and I'm glad that there are going to be other seasons, because I do agree, Donna, even though I am enjoying it significantly, there is room to grow, and I think we'll get there. I also don't really want to see a Robin introduced, at least not for a while. And I don't know if Bruce Timm is going to agree with me on that, but
probably
I wouldn't do Robin at least until season 3. Quite frankly, I think there's still enough growth here for the character of Bruce Wayne, where you need to establish him more until you then deal with him with a kid's sidekick. So, especially if he's still growing with Alfred, I need that to get done before he then becomes a father himself. So we'll see. We'll see where they wind up going with that.
An interesting comparison is My Adventures with Superman, which I've seen all of, and I enjoy. I don't like everything that they do, but that's always a choice rather than a storytelling thing. I think that show's a lot more creatively ambitious than this one ended up being.
That Mixelplick episode of My Adventures with Superman, and then the follow up. The Watchtower YouTube channel did a full. Has it been the same Mixelplick the entire time video, which is awesome.
Yes. Yes. I love that channel.
It's so good. Watchtower Database is fantastic. If anybody hasn't actually checked that one out, they do Will It Cannon. They Will It Cannon Batman Cape Crusader, actually, to try to see where if and where it fit in, to the point where they even said it might fit in with the Fleischer Superman shorts. Because apparently Lois Lane shows up in the background of one of the Batman Cape Crusader episodes. Only she's Timmified a little bit, but she's definitely wearing the same outfit she wears in the Fleischer shorts. So who knows if they're going to decide to go.
Cool.
Oh, my least favorite Lois Lane.
Help! She's Lois Prime from the League of Loises.
That's true. I'm in trouble. Help me!
No, I'm in trouble, but I'm still gonna get the scoop. Man, Clark. Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Superman, now stay put. Yes, my lord. I thought that
was also, Chris, I'm a reporter. Okay.
It's funny you quote that, and that's from a DS9 fan comic on Tumblr.
Oh dear.
Let's transition over to Marvel's side of.
No. You're talking about Cape Crusader because you watched it recently, even though it came out in August.
Yes.
We're not talking about Creature Commandos.
That is a good point, and you're right, actually.
Okay.
Or the Superman trailer.
Yeah.
I was also going to say also new season of Harley Quinn, which I actually am caught up on.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? Actually, hold on. You're right. let's deviate over to trailers first, because there's important shit to discuss. You're right. Superman, Fantastic Four,
Superman, man,
Yes.
Superman, dog, Superman, baby.
I've seen both spots. Okay, to be fair, I have been busy. I haven't had a lot of time. I've seen the new commercial only about 25 times.
Right.
I've seen the original teaser about 117, which is very low.
I've lost track. I've completely lost
I've been busy
track.
too. I've been busy weeping for how awesome it is.
Oh
It's
my
permanently
God.
in my watch later playlist on YouTube. I refuse to take it off the playlist. I will never take it off this playlist. I will watch every single other person die on this planet from nuclear war before I take it off this playlist.
Oh my God.
Ringlow dead. Ringlow
just
is dead.
everything about that trailer, you'd think that his S stood for hope or something, because like it's so what I want.
That'd be a good idea. Yeah.
And again, it's a trailer. We don't know what the movie is going to actually be like until we sit our asses down.
Teaser. Yeah.
You know, it's a teaser, but it's a damn good teaser. Like,
Best teaser I've ever seen.
oh my God. And somebody actually pointed out, I think you might have even been the one who sent us the link to this, Chris, that like the best Superman movie up until the one we're getting is the trailer for Superman Returns. Like because
I did post that.
Yeah.
That was that Gizmodo?
I think it was Gizmodo, yeah, where it was either the Gizmodo or the Verge or Polygon or one of those sites. But the actual teaser trailer for Superman Returns, which gets everything feeling right, and then the movie happened. So I'm going to distance myself as far as I can without saying oh my god. But at the same time, things look right here. Things feel right.
It was Polygon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All credit to Susanna Polo, written December 20th, 2024.
There you go. Cool. Yeah.
I love the deck on this, actually. It's sometimes drawing from great filmmakers can obscure a bad movie.
Take that.
Oh my God. Not wrong.
Not wrong. Unfortunately.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
But I cede the floor to the Superman super fans that are on this call. Raph, I will begin with you, and Jamal, you can then speak for 20 minutes about it.
And then we'll move on.
Yeah, exactly. But Raph, where are you? Where are you, man?
Where am I?
Yeah.
Where am I?
Yeah.
I have to. So let me preface this by saying, when it came to Superman Returns, right? This is like just a couple months before I met you. I'm 22 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm young. I'm still optimistic. I believe I have a hopeful future.
Yes.
All that, all that stupid kid stuff.
You're incredibly annoying.
Yeah.
Yes, I was incredibly
Oh
annoying.
yeah. I thought he was older than me. Turned out he was the same age. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, and I'm actually like slightly younger than you.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, I think at that point, I had already pre-ordered my tickets. I had already this was like the greatest movie of my life.
Yeah.
Do I feel that way about this movie? I don't think I do. Like that same level of excitement that I had when I was younger. But I promise you, if I don't see this 10 times, it's because in the theaters, it's because something stopped me or I'm dead.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm not going to watch this movie repeatedly.
You're gonna sign up for AMC A List for the month just so you can not spend $100 on this shit. And
I still have Regal.
Okay,
and
there
I'm
you go.
close.
Okay,
I live like almost equidistant between
Nice.
like the Regal by my mom's place and the Union Square Regal.
Nice.
So take your pick.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, what can I say? I mean, like it's like the best of the Silver Age. It's like the crypto on my big screen.
Oh my
You're
God.
putting Crypto the Superdog
Yeah.
on my big screen.
Yeah.
I'm getting Crypto. This guy right here is getting Crypto. Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, not Trump scam coin, not those, but actual real crypto. Do you understand how important this is?
Look how close he is to the camera.
Oh my god!
I do. I need you to. This is to emphasize the point.
This is everything I wanted.
Getting Silver Age Superman with crypto. I'm getting All-Star Superman. One of my top 3 stories of the only way this movie can't be the greatest superhero movie of all time. The only no.
No.
Let me not do this because I'm overhyping it. I think it's going to be the best DC movie in the past, the best non-Batman DC movie in the past 3 decades, which is not a very high bar.
I really love how your qualifiers just keep getting tacked onto this.
I know.
You're like, oh no, I might have overstayed. Okay, stepping it back again.
I want it to be better than Batman Begins and Dark Knight, but that's kind of difficult.
As long as it doesn't go 20 minutes too long.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
But like, I mean, God, they're partially using Grant Morrison as a basis. I love Grant Morrison. The only thing preventing this movie from being the greatest superhero movie of all time, which I know they won't do because because in my sick head, I know they won't do it, is at the very end, if they do go with All-Star Superman, he does fly into the sun and then he just starts exploding and turning blue.
Yeah, but
that is the only way.
Oh, yeah.
They ain't going to do that.
Be the greatest Superman with it, but they're not going to do it.
No.
So it's going to be top 3 for me, dog.
Well, but before I let Jamal say his piece here, Nick Holt is Lex Luthor. Like,
my God.
Come on, guys.
Oh my God.
Come on.
Why were they wasting time trying to see if he was going to cast as Batman or Superman when Luthor was right there?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, getting Hank McCoy to be bald.
Yeah, I know.
Brilliant.
Oh my
All right?
God.
Witness him.
Yeah.
I have loved Nicholas Holt's ascent as an actor.
Yes.
Like we've watched it in
incredible.
real time and just between the X-Men and Fury Road, Warm Bodies, a movie that
Warm
I
Bodies,
only
that's why I
me and
first
Ian
watched
saw.
them.
So
No,
good.
I've seen Warm Bodies.
Yeah.
I watched it not in theaters, but afterwards.
The Great Huzzah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And before that, he was in The Favorite. That's how he ended up in
Indeed.
The Great.
Yeah.
Was he in Skins? Was that the
Yes. Well, every single person that was in the first season of Skins became something. Like literally everybody who was in that show in the first 2 seasons then moved on to bigger and better things eventually. Like Dev Patel.
Kind of like Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, Dev Patel was in that the first 2 seasons of that. Like, come on, man. Like it's crazy.
Zuko.
Yes, he did. Let's not talk about
I have
it.
to say,
we
just
don't
briefly
talk
before you go into Jamal, that specifically, I love crypto, but specifically when everything from when Superman saves that girl to the shine going off of Lex's head to the child's prayer as David Corus was going, oh, I'm at the point now where I see that I just well up, and I'm not trying to do that. It's incredible how they did that.
It really is, yeah. And I will also add that
I'm just gonna put it on right now, real quick.
no, Raph, we're recording. We're recording, man.
Lower the volume.
They filmed most of this, in fact, almost all of it in Cleveland, and I just went there, this last year. And I noticed a whole bunch of the sites. Ryan Drost has already committed when we do our review of Superman, because it will be a full episode, that he's going to come on and talk to us about that, because he's from the area and there's a very slight. I'm not going to give away what he might wind up talking about in the episode, but he's going to be on for a reason. But I very much look forward to this thing coming out and watching it at least 3 times, probably in the same week. Jamal, go ahead.
Okay. So I've discussed this before, that I have been very cautiously optimistic about this film.
Mm-hmm.
I am a James Gunn fan.
Yes.
I enjoy his films.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy his sense of humor. I think that the Guardians of the Galaxy series is one of the best trilogies that Marvel has produced.
Mm-hmm.
My cautious optimism has nothing to do with James Gunn himself.
Yeah.
It has more to do with having been burned by big screen, and I want to preface this by big screen Superman movies. Since Superman Returns, I spent a lot of time defending Superman Returns.
We recorded a director's commentary together, not director's commentary.
Yeah,
but we did do it.
We did do it.
Yep.
So that being said, I had a lot of trepidation when the video opened, and that trepidation slowly started to wane and then quickly wane. The moment that, and it wasn't Crypto that really sold it for me. It was David Corenswet trying to dodge crowd in Metropolis as Clark Kent, being a clear head taller than everybody else.
Yep.
And you're just like, okay, this is not something that you see. This is not something that you have seen. Crypto is not something you have seen in any live action Superman movie ever. We are getting Metamorpho of all characters. Hawk Girl.
Mr. Terrific.
Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific.
Yep.
And those are just the characters we've seen.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Max Lord.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't talked about Simon Stagg.
Yep.
You know, we don't even have a clear idea. I know who I think the protagonist actually is, or the antagonist actually is, other than Luthor.
You told us, yes.
Yes. But we have not seen that yet.
No, we have not.
So, everything about this trailer was note perfect. I could not believe how happy a teaser trailer could make me. And with that, so here's the thing. Superman comes out July 11th.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Fantastic Four comes out July 25th.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
My birthday is July 19th. July is going to be a very good month.
Oh, damn right. Damn freaking right, man.
Talk about fireworks.
Jeez.
So, interesting enough, my birthday is a Friday this year. What do I get? I get Mickey 17. I get Rule Breakers.
Yeah.
I get Night of the Zoopocalypse. I get Bloat. I get Queen of the Ring. I get We're All Gonna Die, and I get Seven Veils.
Queen of the Ring and Mickey 17.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Mickey 17 is honestly my most anticipated movie.
I want to see that.
Here.
I just love that Bong Joon-ho is just like, I've won an Oscar, or actually 2.
Yeah.
What am I going to do now?
Whatever the fuck I want.
Exactly.
Well, but when I was flying back from India, one of the movies that I ended up watching was Snowpiercer. I'd never seen Snowpiercer all the way through.
Oh, it's a great movie.
It is. I was incredibly happy with Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Like as a viewing experience, and I watched a couple of real duds on that flight.
Oh my god. All right, Chris, do you have anything you'd like to add on the trailer? Because if not, you're first to talk on the other trailer.
I mean, just Crypto. I don't love Superman as much as you guys do. I'm a Batman person.
Okay.
So I was just like, oh, this looks really good. Oh, he's a good looking guy. Doggy. That was basically my trailer reaction. And that's when I was like, no, we're in good hands. Okay, so you've already put up the picture for Fantastic Four.
To be fair,
Fantastic Four first steps, baby.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, like I don't think there are many Superman fans that are as big as Jamal or myself.
Well, that is
completely fair.
That is true. However, I've been paying subtle attention to how the movie is tracking, and mind you, it's February.
Yeah.
Initial tracking for Superman is going to break some fucking records.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go see it 15 times then, not 10.
Yeah.
You twisted my arm, Ian.
Yeah.
if I had to say anything, I think it's probably something we've needed for a while because it does feel like the event movie as we know it is dying off.
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
It's definitely a pandemic thing, but when we talk about Marvel fatigue and everything, but yeah, like just event movies, I don't like even outside of superhero movies, like what are the big movies that people go to the theater for now? It used to be like when we were younger, in the age of the blockbuster, you knew what that summer's hot movie was going to be, and it was not a superhero movie.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Now it's just
it's interesting.
Wicked and Dune. That's it. Wicked and Dune. We're all on the wings of Wicked and Dune. That's
or that
about it.
Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer.
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah.
be honest, that was like a big deal. I will admit that, people were making a big deal at it. It doesn't feel the same to me. I couldn't really quantify it if you asked me to like put it into words. But yeah, just that age of like, you knew that this summer was going to be these movies. Barbenheimer, it feels like a lot of it was them more pushing that rivalry.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Just like they tried to do it with Wicked and what came out at the same time as Wicked?
Oh, crap. I don't even remember now. Because Wicked just...
Yeah, it was so irrelevant.
On 3.
Holy crap! Yeah, Sonic. I think it was Sonic.
Sonic 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even see Sonic.
Yeah.
I saw
I
Wicked.
saw on Twitter.
Yeah. I'm not a musical. I mean, no, I do actually love musicals. I've never seen Wicked on stage because I just don't give a shit because it looks like that cheesy kind of stuff that I don't really like. And then I watched the movie and I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I thought. But man, those sets and those costumes. So I watched it again.
There you go. Well, can I say, oh my God, Herbie is in a movie.
Okay. That's like crypto. It's like crypto. It's basically my crypto. Yeah.
Yeah. I the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer, it didn't sell me nearly as well as the Superman did. However, I really love the aesthetic of the whole damn thing. Like,
visually, it looks like it's going to be gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be, if anything, it'll at least be a vibes movie because you'll be there and you'll be like looking at the costumes and the set. You'll just enjoy the aesthetic of it. So this might be a superhero movie where you might want to go high.
Yep.
I
This is the first one
disagree.
where like they the previous movies they're like how are they going to interpret the Fantastic Four? This is the first trailer of a Four movie. It's like, oh, that's the Fantastic Four. Like that's nothing other than it's not an MCU version. It's not this. This is the Fantastic Four. They left their shame at the door.
I would say it's a return to sincerity.
Right.
I mean, I did see at least one person say, one a friend of ours was like, "Oh my God, this is the closest I'm ever going to get to a Venture Brothers live action." Which, I mean, I get it because it's sort of goes into the super science and of course that
retrofuturism.
Yeah, the retrofuturism.
Yep.
But again, yeah, the sincerity is there. We seem to have finally. I'm not going to say we've totally left it behind, but maybe it was like Deadpool and Wolverine finally got all our little jollies out with that kind of stuff. And now maybe we might be willing, at least this year, I can't speak for future years, we're at least willing to be a little more sincere and honest and just genuinely like love superheroes.
Right.
Feeling the need to make them hip or make jokes.
Yeah.
Like I think I saw a video talking about that, about like the depths of sincerity. And I think it was called well, that just happened.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because this is the first MCU trailer in forever where there's not really. I mean, there's a humor, but it's not really a joke of like, "Hey, audience, laugh." It's just this is just what it is.
Yeah.
This is how Ben Graham and Herbie are.
Also,
no pithy one-liners.
No pithy one-liners. And my God, they made Alex Ross come to life.
Oh yeah. No.
Oh,
the,
yeah,
the Alex Ross aesthetic is all over this film.
Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the version of the Thing that they went with is basically his version of the Thing.
Right.
The shot selection, like this teaser image that I have up here on the screen for everybody.
The color palette.
Oh
is
my
so
God.
Alex Ross.
Yeah, absolutely.
He always loved like he likes his like whitewash on things, and you can definitely see it here because I'm like, but their outfits aren't usually that color. That is definitely Alex Ross.
Well,
that's definitely that pastel blue.
Yes,
is so striking.
Yeah,
in comparison.
And my favorite thing about
the Josh Trank pitch black spacesuits.
My favorite thing about these costumes too is that you basically get multiple iterations of Fantastic Four costumes that have existed on all four of them. Reed's got the blue turtleneck, so it looks a little bit more like an old school one.
Right.
Sue's got the white up top, which is reminiscent of Burns' design. Thing, that's a more recent one where he's full body. Kind of even reminiscent to like Eaglesham's take on the Fantastic Four. And Johnny's kind of like a combination of all of them, quite frankly.
Yeah, no, Johnny and Thing basically is the same costume in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It just has to be tailored more for Ben. Like Ben needs more tailoring because of his body type.
Yeah.
I do this again, but remember last time when he was naked?
Yes, I do. I do remember that. Remember how that movie was called Fantastic?
I mean, it's just so fun because, like, at least with the Tim Story movies, he was shirtless, but he had pants. That's you would expect that. Here, he's wearing the most clothes, which is an interesting chase. And then it's like the range is what kills me because, the last one he was straight up naked.
Oh yeah, and also you guys, Galactus is not a bunch of bugs.
Let's go. I thought of Marvels after I saw this trailer, honestly. Yeah. Marvels was in my head the whole time.
There is a theory out there that I saw that, we don't know who Malkovich is playing. Malkovich, Grey Ghost is a theory. The other theory that I've seen floated out there is that he might very well be playing old Reed Richards. And that they may be going more Earth X than we're aware.
Oh, wow.
Because that would be, old Reed Richards' Doom, and that would tie into the whole Doom situation with Downey Jr. and all that jazz, and the Celestial Seed, because the Celestial is actually being mentioned in Captain America.
I just noticed that. Was that only the most recent teaser?
Yes.
Or wasn't?
No, they mentioned it. It was in the Japanese teaser that came out a couple of months ago, and that's. I mean, that's because you remember I had mentioned in the chat that they had mentioned adamantium for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that was also sort of hinted at or even mentioned in the previous teasers and everything. It was just I heard adamantium and I'm like, oh wait, this is a new one, and then I see the giant ass god, sticking out of the water.
Because the first teaser for Captain America: Brave New World, there was a shot of Sam flying, doing a flyby, and you see him flying by the Celestial Hand.
Yep, and that's what I have up on the screen right now. Is that very image? Yeah.
I've never seen Eternals. That just reminds me of Evangelion.
It kind of has that feel to it, yeah. But I very much want to see what direction this is going to wind up going. How they're going to wind up in the 616. There's a lot to be done.
You mean Earth 1999?
You know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's not
616.
Fine. The MCU. Are you happy?
It depends whether you ask Aman Vellani or Kevin Feige.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Listen, it's good stuff. Also, in a week we have Captain America. So that's happening very soon. I will be there definitely, and we'll have a review episode of that once it's out 100%.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea when I'm going to see it because I bought my ticket at the Alamo Draft House, and then Sony laid off 70 people, so it looks like they're on strike now.
Yeah, they are.
And I should cancel my ticket. And I'm like, can we resolve the... I'm a terrible person. I mean, my plan is generally, if it's not resolved, I'll cancel the ticket, and then I'll call and cancel my membership and be like, pay your goddamn workers, assholes, or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to talk Creature Commandos a little bit, and then we can go into recent reads? We could say Friendly Neighborhood for another day if we need to. But, the Creature Commandos, I assume all of us have watched at least a little bit of, if not all of.
I'm 3 episodes in. Okay. I'm so behind on so much.
Well, what I will start off with Creature Commandos is that the fact that this is being the fact that this came out but from James Gunn, and that James Gunn is making Superman, and Superman looks like an entirely different thing, just proves the range of the man. But also, Creature Commandos was just a lot of fun, man.
Oh yeah. I
had a damn good time with it. I had a damn good time.
I really enjoyed it. I think probably the most, because James has this ability to make you feel emotions for the oddest characters. The episode where we get some of Weasel's backstory.
Oh my God.
You're just like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane how, like, I'm just sitting there just like, he didn't do nothing.
He
tried to say it. He didn't do nothing.
He was just living his life.
He did.
Oh my God. Yeah. and everything like GI Robot, like
G.I. Robot had honestly the best episode for me.
Thing.
I loved his flashback.
oh my God, so good. Nazis.
Oh yeah, no. When he walked into the modern like white power meeting, and you're just sitting there going, "Oh, I know what's coming now." It was so cathartic.
Oh
Hi,
my
Nazi.
and like the voice acting is great. The animation's actually excellent. Like I was blown away
That's one of the
by
most surprising thing. Yeah, the animation is like, this is like anime good.
Yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't know if that's a great statement because some anime is very poorly animated.
That is true. That is true.
This is good anime. This is good.
It depends on the studio. Yeah.
Yeah, say it's like name a studio. You know.
Yeah.
Like this is like Madhouse good and not one.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Whatever is doing My Hero these years.
Can we point out that David Harbour has now played both Hellboy and Frankenstein?
So I will say I enjoyed the series for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I was ever like, oh, this episode is bad or this is bad. I did have a few like qualms with it. One being that and I've seen other people also complain about this, that not every villain needs a tragic backstory.
True.
And I honestly kind of would have preferred it if it was more of a mix of people who deserve to be there and people who didn't deserve to be there. And like ultimately everyone got at least some like humanity in them. Like Dr. Phosphorus had like that great dancing sequence.
Oh,
and like his,
That's awesome.
yeah. But I mean, he still was, he did become a criminal. So at least there was that. But yeah, like it just felt off because I was just like, yeah, so you're just basically saying these people are all victims, and that like it felt weird. The other thing is I didn't like, and it was more, I think my problem was I don't like that they put Frankenstein in the opening credits because they made him seem like he was going to be part of the team and thus a hero. And every episode just confirmed, no, he's a psychotic, manipulative, wannabe sex offender.
He's the
basically.
worst. Yeah, he's the worst.
Yeah. So like it made me squirm every time he was in the credits, and I'm like, he's not, like, you're selling him like he's a hero, and he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw. I didn't watch everything, but I watched most of it. I will say, and this is kind of like with Suicide Squad, which I really like a Suicide Squad film. I think like the abandonless violence after a while gets to me, and maybe it's because I'm getting older. Like I have less of a tolerance of just sadistic violence. I mean, that's why I can't watch Invincible anymore, because it just feels so remorseless. It's like you have to imagine what this might do to your audience. There's a time and a place for that. Like I'm not complaining about
watch. I can still watch Invincible. I'll watch it for you.
Dude, you're a terrible person, Ian.
I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, oh, he's shooting a bunch of Nazis. That's fine. But like, it's that kind of violence, like like Frankenstein killing all those folks in the train and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It feels like if somebody's going to die, they're going to die in like the worst way you can possibly imagine, and not just getting shot or getting their neck snapped or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think after a while, it's just it kind of paints a pall over the series, because there are different ways to embellish a tone, I think. And we've definitely gotten into an area of media violence where we're less likely to kind of like cordon off certain, I suppose, levels of intensity, and it's either it's graphically violent or it's not. And I think it's not even this show. It's just kind of a part of a trend that it has been bothering me of late.
I honestly agree with you, considering what I brought up earlier with Calliope, the Sandman issue, and how they showed the rape in the comic and then they omitted it in the TV show. And you're still able to tell the same story, convey the same sense of horror. And I feel that with a lot of violence. Like, it really bugs me how, in general, as a society, we label anything with titties and dick in it as adult, but violence has just become so common.
Sure.
Like an R movie can be super violent, but the minute you see a dick, it becomes, it's suddenly NC-17. And I would love to see, I would honestly, I don't mean to be a prude, I'm not a Debbie Downer or whatever, but I would like to see some violence go back into the closet just a little bit.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think that in some cases you can tell a better story, still have it be violent, but have the violence be implied rather than viscerally explicit, which seems to be the trend that Donovan was talking about as well. And I've noticed as well, it doesn't bother me as much because I'm able to compartmentalize. But my wife, for example, does not like visceral violence.
Yeah,
and she loves superheroes, loves watching comic book movies and stuff like that. But the more violent stuff, like she can't sit through an episode of Creature Commandos with me because there's too much blood.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
There's so much of that CGI squibs that is just a normal part of the animation.
Weirdly enough, in some ways, the Harley Quinn animated has less blood.
Since you brought it up, I'm caught up. I don't know if anybody else
I haven't gotten to this season.
I haven't watched it.
And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. It's in the episode listing, but they brought in Floronic Man.
Nice.
I was like sitting there. I mean, mind you, I like the show.
They haven't already.
Yeah. I don't love the show, and I would not shed a tear if it were canceled. I'd move on with my life, but I enjoy it when I watch it.
Yeah.
And this season so far, I've had that feeling of like, are they running out of ideas or whatever? Because they basically, it's like a soft reboot because they've moved to Metropolis, which lets them do new stories, and that's great. Like, creatively, I think it is a good idea, but it does have this sense of like, why does this show still exist?
Right.
Like, that's my only thing. I mean, it's still fine. It's fun. I will say this. I don't think we've ever talked about Harley Quinn, but it's still my favorite thing about the show was in episode 1, how this is a show where they will regularly say, shit, fuck, ass, like every word except C-U-N-T.
Right.
Like, I can't even say it right now. And I love the fact that they bleep. That's the one word they choose to bleep out. I mean, and that always cracks me up.
Yeah.
It's American, not British.
There you go. Yep. Yeah.
I won't even say it because I don't know how people feel about it.
No, it's fine. Yeah, but
yeah, I say it in real life. I'll be honest, but it's very selective.
Yeah,
it's very selective on my part.
Yeah, and
it does carry weight.
I enjoy the show. I enjoy Guillermo as Nightwing, and
his ass, his beautiful ass.
Oh my God. I also haven't even finished Kite Man Hell Yeah, so I still need to do that until and then catch myself up on everything else. But I like it, and I'm looking forward to the new season, so that much is there. But Creature Commandos, it's interesting that this was the first of James Gunn's tentpole for the new DCU. Right. Because of just
when he was announced, I was worried that like everything that would be announced would be kind of like Creature Commandos, like D-list characters that he would kind of like have soft spots for.
Right.
And when he kind of did that DC fandom slate, like Superman, Brave and Bold, and Creature Commandos, oh, okay, so this is one for him.
Yeah.
And other stuff is coming as well.
And that's the way I look at it, is that one for me, one for everybody else, one for me, one for everybody else.
One for you, one for me. For anyone who's seen The Brutalist, one for you. One for me.
Oh God.
Yes, I sure haven't.
I will be seeing it at some point.
It's long. I mean, this isn't a comic related, but my review of The Brutalist is the first half is absolutely stunning, amazing, probably could have won Best Picture, and then the second half happened. It's not a bad movie, the second half, but it's very jumbled, and you could make the argument, well, it's about, it's a metaphor for his life spinning out of control.
Yeah.
But as a viewer, it's not a cohesive experience. And then the epilogue is just super fucking weird, and like you can find a gazillion articles of like, what does the ending mean? I'm so confused by it. And I'm like, and then it's got some really cool credits.
Well, bringing it back to Creature Commandos, one of the things that I liked about it is is Cersei telling the truth or not? Which very much tied into, okay, are we going, dark future again with DC already? And Doesn't seem like it, but at the same time, it at least had those questions out there that needed to be solved by the Commandos by the end of the season, and they did. And of course, shockingly, because they are expendable, even though they're not the Expendables, there's some loss of life on the team. So, yeah. But I enjoyed it. It was good times overall.
It was good though. I mean, I don't want to put across that.
Oh no, yeah.
Just is so good. He just knows comics that he does it straightforward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been really thinking about how we are in this kind of golden age right now of like we've been talking about TV, but just right now adult animation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Is the fact that there's just like I can just pop on a service and there'll be not even anime, but there's a lot of good anime too, but just pop on and there'll be some American made animated TV show that I can watch and it'll be really good. And I'm just like, it's just so weird to me.
Yeah.
And Ian and I, used to do that Adult Swim panel, which emerged out of, it was a panel a friend of mine did, and it was specifically not supposed to be about Adult Swim, but it was called like Adult Swim Revolution, how I think it was like Cartoon Network forced American animation to grow up. I think that was the original name of it.
Cool.
Yeah. And it just kind of went off course over the 15 to 20 years.
But then we also had the American Animation panel, which kind of also filled in that gap in some ways, where we were just highlighting a whole bunch of cool shit.
That was mostly because I went to a panel and they were just shit talking American animation, and me and a friend were just like, excuse me, having the animated series, Gargoyles, just like it. I just felt like I had to stand up for Western animation.
Well, we'll save it. We'll save a full review of it for another episode, just because I want to talk about some stuff that we've been reading, and then we'll go ahead and wrap things up. But I will say, with Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, for the two of us that have watched it, a bit of it. Donald, have you watched the first episode yet, or any of it?
I've seen clips that look really good, but I have a big problem with Uncle Ben. This is not a spoiler. Uncle Ben being dead before all this happens. I struggle to see how you still call that Spider-Man when you cheap out his reason for being like that. So I'm kind of struggling getting started with, because I've seen clips I like, but I understand that happens, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that at all. But you guys go ahead, because I know you have seen it.
No, it's fine. I feel like it works because that Uncle Ben built this Peter Parker. Like the bones are still there. Even if the actual death of Ben happened, before he became Spider-Man in this,
he gets referenced a lot.
He gets referenced a lot, and he would not be a hero without Ben's influence, one way or the other. So yeah, I completely get it. This is a take on Spider-Man in the multiverse also, so like you gotta throw it that way. Like it's a side MCU. Like it's not the MCU, but it also is. Like a whole bunch of stuff happens in the show that definitely happened in the MCU. It just happens differently. Like Civil War happens, but not with Spider-Man involved. The Sokovia Accords get signed. There was definitely like an Age of Ultron style event that happened at some point. Captain America, Iron Man, they're all in the world, and Doctor Strange gets introduced in the first episode, which then leads to how Peter of this world becomes Spider-Man, is the events of that particular moment. So the message is there. It's just done very, very differently for the sake of the show.
It's explicitly an alternate universe, which I think is fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. They're not saying this is the definitive version of Spider-Man. This is just a version of Spider-Man, and this is how it happens. Which is cool because they get to use a whole bunch of different characters that they wouldn't normally be able to use as well. Like, Nico from Runaways is basically his best friend in the show. And also there's a contemporary version of Tombstone that's introduced. Like he's a classmate of Peter, and we're basically watching the evolution of of the character in a very different way because of that. And I personally also believe the animation works. I know that some people weren't a fan of it, but
no, the animation gets the animation gets better. I was kind of iffy on the animation with the first episode. By the time you get to episode 3, like it really starts, the whole look of the show really starts to come together. 4 or 5. This is a spoiler.
I know what you're gonna say. Say it.
This is a spoiler. They snuck the slingers in there.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
in the most hysterical way possible.
Oh my god! So, if you're aware, Norman Osborn is basically the mentor character in the show for now. We know he's Norman Osborn. Shockingly, something's going to wind up happening eventually. They also finally just straight up made him black with the hair he's always had. So like, go figure.
Finally,
I know. Like, come on, come on, guys. Let's be real here. Come on.
Yeah.
White men don't wave.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
No.
I gotta do a whole episode about that.
And he's voiced by Coleman fucking Domingo. So like, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. But as the mentor character, he's like, all right, I'm going to help you be Spider-Man. Let's try to get you a new costume. It doesn't necessarily have to be a spider. And then we get the Slinger's outfit. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so fucking good. And a whole bunch of other characters are thrown in there too. Like the Scorpions are a gang in this. So you get both Mac Gargan and the female Scorpion as part of that gang.
Unicorn,
yes, fucking Unicorn.
Yeah, Speed Demon.
Yep.
I've never even heard of Unicorn.
Oh my god.
You would know Unicorn if you saw her.
Yeah.
You would know the character.
Definitely.
Okay.
And Speed Demon, again, talk about obscure characters that they're throwing in there.
Yeah, that's a cut.
Like
Rhino gets introduced.
Mm-hmm. But we also are going to wind up having Otto Octavius play a major role in this as well. So they are also giving us the more traditional in there. So totally digging it so far. And I look forward to seeing, where they're going to wind up going with this first season and where it's going to wind up. Oh, and Amadeus Cho is also introduced as one of the members of the science bros that are all working for Norman Osborn. So good stuff. All right, let's talk about some shit we've been reading, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this sucker up. I will start it off, not stuff that I've been reading, but stuff that I have obtained. Not too long ago, it was my birthday, and as part of said birthday, this combined with Secret Santa, I basically have everything Daniel Warren Johnson has ever freaking made now. I received Space Mullet. Which I'm very much looking forward to reading. The premise: ex-space marine Jonah and his co-pilot Alpheus rove the galaxy just trying to get by. Drawn into one crazy adventure after another, they forge a crew of misfits into a family that must face the darkest parts of the universe together. Richly detailed, accessible sci-fi world with heartfelt characters and an unforgettable story. This is high on my list of things I've been wanting to read, and it's there. And of course, Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which this is gorgeous. I've leafed through it so far. I haven't had a chance to read it all the way through, but this is some of my favorite Daniel Warren Johnson artwork, period. And it's great.
I did read Dead Earth. I don't know about other people here.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I didn't love it, but it's got its moments.
Okay. Did you love the artwork though?
The artwork's very beautiful.
Okay, good.
Beautiful in the sense that it's gritty and dark and messy and expressive. It's that kind of art.
Oh yeah. It's Paul Pope-esque. With the general style that's put forth. So that's great. And I also received it's in the back of me right now, and I won't go get it, but I did get the Marvel vs. Capcom collection for PlayStation 4, which runs on PS5, and it came with the tiniest little comic, the tiniest smallest little comic with a Todd Knock cover.
I'm going to warn you,
by the way.
Yeah.
If you play online and you go up against Wazzler, immediately leave the game.
Wazzler?
Immediately.
Oh, yeah, Wazzler. I've heard
Justin
of Wazzler.
Wong.
Yeah. Oh
do
my
not play
God.
against Justin Wong.
Oh no.
Why would I do
He's
that?
a goddamn menace.
Why would I
He will
do that to
destroy your
myself?
life.
Why would I do that to
Like the
myself?
weapons in
Raph?
Final Fantasy 7.
Good.
Seriously,
Yeah.
my God.
I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah.
Let me give you proper warning.
Thank you for that. I also got Street Fighter 6, and I'm starting to play through that a little bit with the story mode and all that jazz. So it's
You playing as Mai Shiranai? Yeah, boy.
Oh yeah. Yep. So I got some good reading and I got some good playing ahead of me. Chris, I'll head over to you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like almost reluctant because I was actually going to send you over some little like short recordings, for the Patreon over.
Well, I mean, you could always tease that.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I've definitely been on like more of a manga streak lately. I do want to get back to Marvel Unlimited and continue my reading of Avengers because I did buy a year's worth at New York Comic Con. I just haven't activated it yet. But in terms of things I'm reading, I haven't read this yet. It's coming up on my list. I have Alice in Borderland, which is part like I've talked about how I'm kind of passionate about. I really like Game of Death stories.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a complete sicko, and I watched the series on Netflix. It's a live action. It's not an anime, but I really enjoyed it. It's about like this like an 18-year-old kid, and him and his friends end up in an empty Tokyo. They're not really sure at first if everyone has been disappeared or they're the ones who've been disappeared. It's the latter.
Yeah.
And they find out they have to like play these games regularly, like in order to win visas, otherwise they get shot. And the games, of course, are deadly and they're different and they have different difficulty levels and they're different types of games. Like some of the games are team games and some are mind games. And I just think it's an interesting, if you've watched Squid Game and you're really frustrated by the fact that it just kind of ends on this cliffhanger, I think Alice in Borderland is a good watch right now.
Red light, green light.
Yeah, and so I just thought I wanted to read the manga because I know I was looking at the wiki, and the wiki people are crazy. They're like, here's a list of every single game played in it. And some of the games are only manga, and some of the games are only on the TV show. So I'm looking into that. The other things I've been reading, I finally watched and then decided to read Dan the Dan.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Yeah, I do want to. It just kind of, the season just kind of ended. Like it has a cliffhanger, but it's a cliffhanger that would be an episode cliffhanger, not a season cliffhanger.
Right.
It's almost like they told them they were going to get 13 episodes and then didn't give them 13 episodes. So like they ended episode 12 with fuck.
Ah,
They'll be
man.
back in like 2 months or whatever.
Yeah, like over the summer, I think is what I've heard. But yeah, like I've been reading that manga. It's really interesting I would say it's interesting for a shonen manga. And I will probably go into more detail about this, but the fact is that like, yeah, it's about the occult. It's got aliens and yokai in it. It's a little vulgar. And I'll admit, I don't like the art in it as much. Like they redesign everything for the anime, and the anime is absolutely gorgeous. But I still think it's like fun when they do the yokai stories. So that I kind of recommend. And now I'm reading Akane Banashi, mostly because Zach Davidson mentioned it on his Blue Sky account. And that's about a girl who wants to be a rakugo, which is a traditional Japanese storytelling, where they sit in one place and then they tell this old story and they act out every part. And what's nice about that series is it's not typical like, oh, you're a girl, you can't do it. It has nothing to do with that, and that is really refreshing. Because
Nice.
Speaking as a female-bodied person, sexism stories do get fucking tiring.
Yes.
Okay, so those are my little capsule things. I'll expand on them elsewhere.
Excellent. Dono.
Yeah.
I also have been reading manga. I was reading because they've been Fist of the North Star, which is an old favorite of mine.
Oh,
And
Yes.
hell yeah! And I collected the first 10 volumes, and I know they're like the publication's now up to volume 14. I took like a year off for just not for any real reason. I watched the live action Gary Daniels movie, which sucks. So I'm now jumped back into volume 11, which the artwork's great. I've also completed. It's a big collection, but I completed. They've been releasing this older late 60s, early 70s manga called Ashita no Joe. That's translated as Fighting for Tomorrow. And one of my favorite manga series of all time is Hajime no Ippo, which is now available to watch on Netflix. And it's very well known that the mangaka for that, Yoji Murakawa, was heavily inspired by this older series. It's a boxing series. And so it's like a $60 collection I get for Christmas. And I've been reading. I read through that, and it's really slow moving. Honestly, like he's not technically a boxer by the end of it, but like there is boxing there. Have you read it?
Does he open up an Italian restaurant in Philadelphia? Like is that what he did?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
No, I have not read Ashita no Joe. I did see a lot of people talking about it. I laughed when you said he's not really technically a boxer by the end, because it reminds me of how Haikyuu is only 1 year of volleyball. I was like, I did my little mini review of it, and I was like, yeah, I read like all 45 volumes of this, and 40 of them are 1 year of time.
This is crap.
Oh my god.
I'm still, I can't get over that.
Oh, also, Donna,
but I did enjoy it though.
just because of what you mentioned, I'll post what I post every single Valentine's Day. Roses are red, violets are blue. Owe wa
What's awesome is that like Volume 11 has like a 30th anniversary special at the top of it. So you see like, oh, Ken's come back after all this time. It's like, who are you? And he pulls a, you were already. And then like you turn the page, there's a full page flash of his face.
Nani?
Hell, so yeah.
Nice.
So I've been reading that manga. I am reading and also reviewing the BatmanUniverse.net. Batman and Robin Year One by Mark Waid, which I'm enjoying, and also the Batgirl series by Tate Brombal, which I'm also enjoying.
Very cool. Very cool. Jamal, what you got?
Okay, so one thing that I have read recently that I really enjoyed was Friday Book 1 by Ed Brubaker and Marcos Martin.
Ooh,
and,
all right.
Yes, and this is right up my Ed Brubaker alley because I am a huge Brubaker fan. I have told him this repeatedly. But Friday is about a young girl named Friday Fitzhugh, who is she's in college, but she spent her high school years as the Archie Goodwin to a teenage detective. In their small town, who's sort of, who's very Encyclopedia Brown meets Sherlock Holmes and named Lancelot Jones. And they have a falling out because, they love each other, but they can't be together. Lancelot is actually a couple of years younger than Friday, and Friday leaves for college in the first book. She comes home for the first time in years. Lancelot wants to go back to, the way things were before. Friday's been away for a couple of years, but, there's a murder.
What?
Yeah.
Damn it.
And they just go downhill from there. It is a fantastic book. It made me, the first one came out in 2021. I wasn't aware of it. I actually got it as part of the boxes that we got for the Harvey Awards last year.
Yeah.
So I finally got around to reading it and was absolutely just enamored with it. So now I have to track down the other two books.
Nice.
So, and, like Dono, Batman and Robin, top tier. Really enjoying the current Superman run as well. What else am I reading? I'm reading a lot.
Good.
But I always read a lot. I've been rereading a lot of the bande dessinée that I've picked up over the years. Now that my French has gotten to a level that I don't have to pull out a dictionary every couple of words to understand what I'm reading.
Nice.
So good stuff.
Yes. We.
So I'm also currently reading, rereading Château des Animaux, Animal Castle, as it was published here in the States.
Okay.
So
nice. And Mr. Suhu.
So, my commute doesn't really let me read much, but I have. So the regular series I've been reading for the last couple of months, I'll bring them up again. Star Trek Lower Decks recently did a time bending issue where the Lower Deckers are each mentored by a different time traveled Starfleet great, Kirk, Picard, etc.
Nice.
It's a two-parter. I just read part one. I'm about to start the second part. let's see what else. I mean, I haven't shut. I think the last 2 episodes I've talked about this, but Godzilla Monster Piece Theater. I mean, come on.
Yep.
I'm on the second issue. It's the cover says Godzilla versus Sherlock Holmes. I think Godzilla might win that one. I'm just throwing it out there.
No.
The most base thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yes. And then actually, so a couple of my streamer friends on Twitch have been recently playing the Telltale games. So I actually went and got the first 2 books for Clementine from the Walking Dead series.
Oh, nice.
Good reads, actually, really good reads. The 3rd book is actually due out in July.
Okay.
So I have that to look forward to in a couple months. And my DCBS order came in, and this isn't really a reading book, but
Oh
I got the
my.
DC Style Guide,
Oh, cool.
Nice.
which I find really interesting, and I actually learned something because I don't remember these guys ever.
Huh.
The little baby DC characters.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember them.
Huh.
I've never seen them before this. I don't
Interesting.
remember them at all.
Wow. Okay.
And since we were talking about Marvel Unlimited, I got my Marvel Unlimited box, and I haven't really opened it yet. So let's see what's in it.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Open it up because I'm not part of that tier anymore, so I don't actually get these.
So my special cover is Avengers X-Men. Was that Eternals: The Eye of Judgment? Which
Is
I don't
that
think I
Peach
have already.
Momoko?
I believe it's yes, that's a Peach
Yeah.
Momoko. There's a letter from Jennifer Walters, attorney at law.
It's a subpoena.
Yep, I'm being subpoenaed. And then this is a poster I got featuring Daredevil. I think Daredevil and Jen. Yeah.
Nice.
Is my name on the back of this? No.
That's the other half of the subpoena.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah. You have been served.
They have they list all the a few Marvel Unlimited Plus people, but I'm not
cool.
on there, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Did they give you an action figure?
the patch. This patch is what the Falcon one. I think?
Yes.
That's the Falcon.
Yep.
And the figure is Yellow Daredevil.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
I like this.
Okay,
A lot.
they gave me Yellow Daredevil in my last year that I was part of it. So I have the same figure. So nice. Okay,
Is this last year's then?
maybe it is.
I'm a little confused now.
Maybe it is. Yeah, it's possible. It is
Did I
highly
just-
possible.
So because my mom, I forgot to change the address, and frankly,
Okay.
the package thieves here are worse than they are at my mom's, so I'm gonna keep sending them there.
They may not have they may not have brought out, they may not have even sent out this year's yet, to be honest with you. So it's a
Oh,
possibility.
it is last year.
Well, there you go. Okay.
So
cool.
there you go.
Okay.
I haven't received this year's yet, but we got to see one from 12 months ago.
All right. Oh, and which did also remind me, as part of my DC Universe Infinite Ultra, which is a mouthful and I hate it. They give you an option of a trade each year that you renew, and I chose Superman Birthright this year. So I received a copy of that in the mail about a week ago, and I'm looking forward to digging into that because I haven't actually read it. So
Nice.
I have the single issues and the trade.
I figured you did.
Mark Wade Superman. Come on.
And with that, we have survived a full episode, and there were some positives to go along with the absolutely negatives. So job well done all around, everybody. I think
Did you say suppositives?
It's a positive.
yes.
Listen, whatever you got to do to make yourself regular, okay? No judgment.
Shit. Before we wrap it up, let everybody know where they can find each and every one of you, starting off with you, Jamal. Got anything new to pimp or promote? And if so, by all means.
Oh, well, I showed it earlier in the episode, but I will show it once again. The Wrong Earth Dead Ringers trade paperback is out and available in stores. I'm currently working on a couple different things, which will be out sometime, I'm supposed, closer to the summer, and then the announcement for my next couple of projects will be coming forthwith.
Okay, good.
So
Forthwith, vis-a-vis, here to, and so on and so on.
exactly,
Excellent.
etc., etc.,
Etc. Thank you. Dono.
As always, you can find me on the Questions We Don't Have Answers podcast, QNoAnswers.com, with myself and my friend Harrison Shute. I am a DC content writer for the DC Comics website. You can find my stuff there. and I am currently reviewing Batman and Robin Year One by Mark Waid and the Batgirl titled by Tate Brombell on the BatmanUniverse.net. Check me out there, and thank you very much for having me.
Excellent, and a pleasure as always. Raph has disappeared, so Chris, where could they find you?
Yeah, I'm a useless sack of shit right now, so I don't have anything upcoming. You can find me or harass me on Blue Sky. That's just Lampbane bsky.social. I didn't bother setting up a custom domain. I still have my itch.io page in which you can find little games I've made and little zines, including one about why Whamageddon is good, actually. After we had it absolutely destroyed for us at PAX Unplugged.
Mm-hmm.
The
God.
guy in the main hall, whoever was doing AV in the main hall, was just playing it at the end of every panel. Yeah.
So annoying. So annoying.
It's just mean. That's my zine was basically like, don't do that. There's like, it's fun. Why, it's again the let people enjoy things.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, I'm just around. Eventually I will get my shit together. I have applied for jobs and I am still working on a novel. I'm sure it'll be published in, 2032.
You're gonna work on that novel? You're gonna get that for me then?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Because I need to clean it up and I'm just like not doing it. I refuse to do it. I'm just
you
like,
and
no,
me
this
both,
is shit.
okay?
Man, it has been so long since I heard that horrible voice out of your mouth, Raph. I appreciate that.
You want to see it back again?
Look, I have 200 pages. I just refuse to edit them.
There you go.
I have like 80, so you've got me beat.
As long as they're not meticulously describing how the toilet works in space, then I'm perfectly okay.
All
right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I guess I'm rewriting it now.
I think only 3 of us really understand what that's a joke
Yes,
about.
I know.
It's my ex. It's
good
my
times.
ex.
Specific in joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
It's
Raph,
excellent.
what do you got for us?
Real quick, I forgot this pre-order came in.
Ooh.
I have the other Superman 78, and this guy just wanted to come and say hi because I mentioned him and how he should be in the movie.
Yes. Electric Blue ain't gonna be in that movie, man. He ain't gonna be in that
like how
movie.
he's
He's
like a
not,
crazy
and it makes
person
me
right now.
sad.
There was Electric Superman reference on Harley Quinn.
Oh, nice.
There was
Greatest show
I've seen
ever.
that screenshot.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Greatest show ever.
just remembered because it was a Superman like exhibit museum, and there was all the different I was just like, that was damn.
That was
it
for me.
Nice.
That was for
Yeah,
me and
that was just for
alone.
you. That was just you. Yeah.
Yep.
Game, recognized game.
Plugging. So I don't really do much in the comic industry anymore, but I do stream on Twitch. My socials everywhere. Raph does stuff. I try to stream once or twice a week. I usually yap about stuff I like, pretty much comic, like superheroes at least, and then some gaming content. I've been playing Dynasty Warriors Origins to make my ancestors proud when I conquer China.
Nice. Well,
Excellent.
Before we wrap up, some notes on upcoming episodes. Obviously, there will be a previews episode that will probably come out, if not next week, then the week after. Yeah, I mean, hey, we got to do previews in one form or another. We're just gonna have to include Lunar's catalog because I have a feeling we're gonna need to. But either way, we're gonna make it work. Marvel, DC stuff, is gonna wind up coming out. Image stuff is gonna wind up coming out, and we'll figure the rest out. But we will salvage that format one way or the other. I want to mention on this episode here that sometime, if not by the end of February, then the early bit of March, we will be doing a version of Best Of here on Comic Timing. It will be a little bit of a different format than what was done on the previous show, as we will not be soliciting for listener participation ahead of time. However, it will be a merging of the blue team and the gold team. I am definitely going to want to try to have as many people as we could have on that one as possible.
Crossover.
So Mr. Murdo and Mr. Eberly will be joining as many of these fine folks who have a list, and I will put together some categories for us to choose from, and we'll go ahead and put that out, and then we will solicit votes after that from the fans to vote on their choices, and then we'll just go ahead and announce that on the show at some point. So there will be a Best Of this year. Please stay tuned to that. Hopefully it will be out before the Oscars. We shall see. But either way, thank you guys.
Which one? Like Dark Phoenix Saga, Executioner Song, Messiah Complex? Which crossover are we?
We are definitely not Executioner song. That much I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's blood ties. It's blood ties.
Blood ties.
No, it's Atlantis Attacks. That's what we are. We're
great.
Atlantis Attacks. Yeah, absolutely. Dear God, no. Final night, baby. All right. Okay, here we go. Email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. Facebook.com/Comic Timing is where you can find us on Facebook, and that's where the Comic Timing fan group is as well. So please do check that out. We are on Blue Sky at Comic Timing. We're also on Instagram as Comic Timing Podcast and Threads as Comic Timing Podcast as well. And you can check out the video versions of the show over at youtube.com/Comic Timing Podcast. Quote the Raven Nevermore. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here once again for this episode. Greatly appreciated. Good times all around. And as always, there's always time for comics, but not for Electric Boo. I'm sorry, he's done.
Hey, he's always around.